stage is set for the ultimate showdown between the state's top football sides here at People First Stadium on the Gold Coast for the Bond University QAFLW Grand Final. It's the ultimate Shark showdown today between the Southport Sharks and Bond University Bull Sharks, a true clash of the coast. We're not too far away from the first bounce at 2:30, and before we set the scene, I'd like to say thank you to Bond University for allowing this competition to truly be the premier Women's State League football competition that it has become, and also to People First Stadium, home of the Gold Coast Suns, for hosting us today, Double Take Sports for their work for our production, and Bradnam's Windows and Doors for sponsoring our umpires all season. My name's Hannah Davies, and I'm joined today by player and expert Sky Burgess and QAFLW expert and caller Daniel Viles.
How you doing, Hannah? This is an amazing day. Can I confess, I've never been this tense before a QAFLW Grand Final. I was feeling a bit tighter in the body today. I think it's because every year both teams want the prize, but this year they want the prize and the scalp. It's Bond versus Southport. It's amazing.
It's a big rivalry, isn't it? It's great to be here today. You know, like you mentioned, Hannah, having it at this kind of stadium, they're so lucky to get to do this. The league is just absolutely getting better and better. And it is, after watching the reserves grade, the vibe is up, and, you know, it's certainly going to help Southport. When your reserves team win, it just sends a different vibe going into the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two teams come out today.
Sky, you've been in grand finals yourself before. Talk to me about what the players would be feeling right now as they count down the minutes until that first bounce.
I just think nerves, hey? Like, you can't really summarise it any other way. You're just nervous for multiple different reasons. But I think if you're not nervous, then you'd have something to worry about. But it almost gets this such a build all day that, and you're nervous, you almost just want to get out there. You're like, just let me out there, just start the game, just bounce the ball up. But yeah, there'll be nerves down in the bunker for sure.
Plenty of nerves. Hopefully after a few minutes of those first minutes, of footy, it'll be all up to the players. So Daniel, after 14 home and away rounds and 2 weeks of finals, we finally made it to the big dance. Talk to me about how both these sides made it here today.
I'll talk about this here in a second, but if I may, back in 2021, I was talking with one of the directors of football at Bond University, and you know, they were heading towards their third minor premiership. I said, gee, you guys could really form a dynasty here. And they said, we're watching Southport nervously over our shoulders. If they get their act together, this could be interesting, as it has come to pass. This year, obviously, Bond University premiers last year, and I must confess, at the start of this year, I thought, well, they've got the best generation of 16, 17-year-olds we've ever seen in this state. They're all still there. I can't see Bond being challenged this year. Southport started off well. Of course, round one, they unleashed Dakota Barron on the world. 6 goals in her first ever match. The next week they met, and it was at Bond University Oval, and Bond looked pretty good that day. They dismantled the Southport side. They were able to trap them inside. Most importantly, Bond's backline just did not let Southport deep inside 50. Then the next week up at Aspley, Southport lost again, and Aspley looked a bit more slick than them that day. After that, Southport, they ground out a very tough 8-point win against UQ the following week. Then they beat a few of the bottom sides by weak margins, and I thought, okay, they're starting to get it together. Then in round 8, they beat Bond again. And for me, that was the turning point of the whole season. From that point on, Southport's been the dominant side. Meanwhile, Bond, they've had a few ups and downs through the season, a few shaky victories. In the finals, they have pulled it together. They dominated Cooperoo. And even though it was only a 4-point victory over Aspley last week, they won the crucial moments. And I suspect if Bond's going to win it today, it will be crucial moments, not a flattening.
Earlier today, I got the chance to speak with the respective head coaches. So let's hear from Peter Doherty from Southport and Andy Lovell from Bond University. All right, Doc, a lot of time has passed between last year's disappointment and to make it to this point. What's been the energy like at Sharks Camp this week?
It's been fantastic. We're worked hard. We were humbled last year in being straight sets out. So we went back to the drawing board and worked hard over the last 12 months, and the last 2 weeks has been fantastic. So great qualifying final win against Aspley gave us the chance to really plan out the 2 weeks, and we think we're ready to go.
Last year's grand final, best on ground, Havana Harris has been in very good form coming into this one. How do you plan to counteract her impact?
she's a great player. But we really feel like we've got the depth across our whole team. So we've got experience, we've got our own young stars coming through, and for us it won't be really focusing on a single player. We're a team unit that's going to go about the job. So I'm really excited with the opportunity of the girls to go out there and express their skills.
Where do you see this being won for your side today?
Yeah, it's a good question. Certainly a lot at the contest. We want to be able to control the ball once we get hold of it and really break their change down, because they're great by hand, by foot, really well coached. So we need to make sure that once they get ball in hand, we really try and disrupt that chain, put it back in the contest and get to work from there. So excited.
Best of luck for today.
Thank you very much.
Andy, congratulations on making it to this point for the second year in a row. What's been the focus for training this week?
Oh, look, we've really tried to just focus on what we do well. A lot around our contest work and how we move the ball out of our back 50. It's going to be really important on the big ground. So we respect and understand how good Southport have been all year. They're firing and being the best team. So for us, it's a matter of playing our game and then trying to nullify their good players.
Speaking of, Southport's Maddie Watt has been in fantastic form this season. How do you plan to nullify her today?
Oh, look, she's not the only one. I think they've been a really good team all year. Maddie's obviously a very, very strong player, very good player. So for us, it's about winning contests and getting the ball out of stoppage and getting forward and getting shots on goal for us first.
What's going to be your final message to the girls before they run out today?
Believe in ourselves, believe in our game plan, and really enjoy themselves.
Thanks, Andy. Good luck.
Thanks, Hannah.
Sky, in addition to being part of our commentary team this season, you spent the season training and playing with Southport. Unfortunately, your season was cut short due to injury, but chat to me about how Doc goes about preparing the squad for these big moments.
Yeah, he's really good. He speaks really well. You know, they do their meetings all as one, reserves and seniors, and he loves to come up with these analogies or stories about, you know, people in hardships or whatever, and then refers to them as footy and stuff. And it's really great. It makes the girls laugh, but also you can see the serious message behind it. So there's been a few of that coming into this week. The girls remember those stories, and you know, all week they've been like, defend the fortress, which the girls will get what I mean when they say that. So it just goes to show it really works. The girls listen, they remember these things, and he knows how they work and knows how to get the message across.
Yeah, certainly. It's always so fascinating, isn't it, to see the different coaching styles. Speaking of, Daniel, you went down to Bond University training this week. Can you tell us about what that was like? We just heard from Sky, you know, Doc's style of pump up and analogies. What's it like with Andy Lovell?
It is more relaxed. I think Andy realised now, I did go to Monday night training. I think Wednesday close to the game is always a little bit more intense. But there they did their match review. I did not go inside, I was respectful. But it was very much tactical, looking at, you know, things they've done well during the week. And then the training session they did, it was high pressure. I mean, they took it seriously. But there was no sort of, you know, big come-ons. There was no cheering. It was very much about just being precise with what they were doing. And of course, Andy Lovell, for those of you who don't know his playing career, he played as an 18-year-old. He played for Melbourne in the 1988 Grand Final. Didn't go so well, but he did have a good career after that. Not a hill admit. I mean, last year he beat a team wearing brown and gold, which was the opposite of what happened when he was 18. But no, he's been there, done that. He's coached Selwoods, for goodness sake, and he still thinks Courtney Sexton is the toughest player he's ever coached. But no, they were very much just working out what they needed to do, and very much building up to today. There was no intention of peaking early from Bond University.
Fantastic. Well, Daniel, Sky, let's chat about the lineups today. Sky, I'll start with you. Anything shock, surprise you? Anyone you're excited to see today?
No shocks for me. I think what's impressed me is the level of effort that goes into keeping these girls maintained. Like, you see other leagues and they're getting injuries all the time, and I think both teams have almost prepared for that. They've got numbers, and there's not. So nearly teams are nearly at full strength. You know, they obviously have a few injuries, but they are at full strength. So you get the academy girls back, and they're all out there. I'm just excited to see them all. There's such a depth of talent across both teams. I'm just excited to see them all line up against each other.
Daniel, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the point you make, Sky, about Southport's stability is absolutely correct. They've been able to put the same team on the park, I think, 3 or 4 matches in a row. The roles, well, I was about to say the roles are clearly defined, and that's true, but they're also a very versatile side, and they can move players around. They even move bench players around. I wish they'd publish who they were playing where, but apart from that, it's... but no, you very much know the team roles. Bond did pull one change from last week. They put Sunny Hewitt back to reserve grade, and she played very well there. They've brought in Sky White. Now, she's a slightly taller player. She's 175 centimetres. I think Sunny's down in the 160s. And the plan is to rotate her through defence. In fact, she's been named as the starting centre halfback. We'll see if that's how it plays out. But just with the balance of the side, I think they thought, right, Southport does have a bit of tall timber up front with people like Dakota Barron, with people like Georgia Davis pushing forward. We probably need a bit more height there, and so I'm guessing that that's the reason that they thought, well, there's not much between Sky White and Sunny Hewitt. Sunny and Sky, yeah, I know. They've picked who they think is the best of those players to take on this particular opponent.
Let's chat about the form that both these sides have been in this season. You know, it was interesting watching this season unfold, and I think if we look back to last week when Aspley bowed out of this competition at one stage, in my eyes, you know, they were probably the premiership favourites. And speaking to Doc before the game, we did touch on the disappointment of last year to just miss out on this moment. Again, they were probably the premiership favourites last year. So it'll be really interesting, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Sky, firstly, for Bond. You know, they've got the experience of last year's grand final. They've been in this position. How much is that experience going to play into today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard because both teams have some young players, academy girls, and that's where the nerves and that tends to come in. But, you know, that's when you need the older girls in Bond to carry their experience and to talk to the girls. And you just kind of know the vibe to set up. You know, you got to keep everyone's heads cool and stuff. So they've been through it before. They know how to win. I think that's going to be really, really important, especially if it's a close game. You know, you get to 3/4 and you're talking to your group and stuff. It's going to be a big advantage that they've done it before and won.
Daniel, let's chat about Bond's captain, Paris Lightfoot, one of those older girls, as Sky mentioned. This is her last season as captain. I mean, how fantastic of a career has she had so far? She's not quite retired. Chat to me about Paris.
Yes, and just to flesh that out, yeah, last year as captain, she'll take 2025 off. She does have a business that she's getting going. Yeah, that'll be all over social media. I'm sure she'll plug that. But no, this is, I mean, the ultimate club person. She was the first woman to play 100 games for Bond University. You can sit on Paris Lightfoot up on the hill at Bond University Oval. They've each got a bench named after them. 2021, I think, is a good example because that was the year when Bond had just a whole lot of halfbacks, and she said, right, well, I'll captain Bond reserve grade this year, and she captained them to a premiership. There was an injury before the first grade grand final, and she was offered the choice of coming up for that grand final, and she said, no, I've got unfinished business with the reserves. So that is the kind of captain that she's been. It's exhausting work, and I don't begrudge her deciding to call it a day. And, I mean, obviously, we can speculate about who the next captain will be. I think Courtney Sexton's probably the front runner. But to me, even if they lose today, and let's be honest, Southport is the favourite, for Paris Lightfoot to finish this stage of her footy career on this stage with, everything set up for her, I see Paris Lightfoot as one of many players on the field who deserve a stage like this, particularly at this stage of her career.
And conversely, looking at Southport's leadership group of Brianna Shipp, Megan Hunt, Steph O'Brien, Taylor Gregory, those are some really experienced players who will no doubt bring a steady head to today's game. I mean, I want to point out Steph, I'm a big netball fan. Was it 2 weeks ago she won the Sapphire Series with the Ipswich Jets? I mean, back-to-back grand finals, that's pretty impressive.
I know. It's good enough to win one flag, to win two in a couple of weeks. That'll be pretty good for her.
Well, not quite, Sky, not
no,
quite.
I'm saying if she did, that would be a good. But she's such a team player that wouldn't even be going through her head. So she's an outstanding player. We do have actually surprise retirement today, which I just found out on the way here. Selena Priest. It will be her last game today. So very sad, but again, she kept it under wraps. Another team player, a lot of experience, like you mentioned. So, yeah, she let that slide when we were walking into the stadium today.
So this will be game 112 for her. Premier back in 2016. There's a few Coolangatta players. Eloise O'Brien, who missed out on reserve grade selection today, but she was in that 2016 Coolangatta side. We'll mention it throughout the call, but the cross-pollination between these two sides. First time that Bond University won reserve grade, they had a midfielder named Maddie Watt.
Oh, interesting.
And I think we're just going to take a short pause now for the national anthem.
Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of AFL Queensland and our national rights partner, welcome to the 2024 Bond University QAFLW Senior Grand Final between the Southport Sharks and the Bond University Bull Sharks. Today, we play our grand final on the traditional lands of the Yugambeh people, and AFL Queensland would like to pay our respects to their elders past and present. Please welcome our Bond University QAFLW Premiership Cup ambassadors to present today's Premiership Cup. Representing Southport is Blair Kearns, who has been involved with Southport's women's football program since day one and is the current senior team manager. And representing Bond University is Hayley Martin, who has been involved with the program for 5 years and plays a pivotal role in balancing players, student study, employment, football and life needs. Please make our Premiership Cup ambassadors welcome. I'd now like to invite everyone who can to join our players and officials in being upstanding for the playing of the Australian National Anthem.
How good is the sound of that siren? That means we are not very far away now. Daniel and Sky, as we get close to the first bounce, let's chat about where is this one today, Sky?
Yeah, it's interesting, aren't they? We mentioned it in the reserves game. They're both similar style playing teams, so it's very interesting. I think personally the contest is going to make a big difference. We know Southport have got some bulls in there, so whoever can dominate the contest is going to make a big difference. And I think work rate also, it sounds almost so silly to say, but they've both got such good setups that I think like whoever can work the hardest and get numbers to the ball is going to really impact the game. I think too, with having the good structures, whoever can find the space, like even boot it out the wing if there's no one out there, get the run on, just get it out of those team setups. I think probably for me, those will be the main three factors today.
Do you have an early tip, Sky?
If I don't say Sharks, I'll get shot. So I'm a Sharks girly. I also think, they are favourites. They've just got so many different strengths, so I think they will win today, yeah.
Daniel, how do you see this playing out?
I'm actually going to disagree with Sky and say I think their styles do contrast a bit. Where Southport try to compress the opposition defence, Bond try to stretch them out, which is a point I make in the brilliant preview that I've written in the match program, which is available from the AFLQ website. But where I think it's going to be run is when the ball is in Southport's forward 50. If Southport can compress Bond and not let them clear, they win. If Bond can get out, they don't. The music is imposing. I was about to say we have a countdown on the scoreboard. It merely started that way. The 24th Bond University QAFLW Grand Final is the greatest shark stoush of them all. Havana Harris got the first tip. Courtney Sexton running onto it. Steph O'Brien will come out wide to Davis. Goes without it. Sexton with an air swing. Came wide towards Meyer. Pluples gets an early touch. No real disposals as of yet as it comes towards this western side of the ground. Zarafa has everyone land on top of her. And in fact, she wins a free kick for a push in the back. And the ball is not handed back to her in true grand final style. So Zarafa comes wide. We'll go to the contest. I don't think Hannah Davies realised how close it was to her. Ari Clark cleared by Lightfoot and well smothered by Davies. And just to clear up, yes, we have Hannah Davies the commentator and Hannah Davies the player.
She's used to hearing
Get
that.
over it.
You're in two places at once, Hannah. That's pretty good.
We've got the better one.
Hey.
I didn't say the other one was bad. I just said we've got the better one. Boundary throw-in on the western side. Harrison Davis in the ruck. A lot's been made of that challenge, although it's probably going to be more how they work around the ground. Out to Salisbury, who's been brilliant the last few weeks. Clark back to Salisbury. Hooks around the near side, looking for Sexton. Pluples did well, knocked it over the back. Kalija came running through. Unable to hold on the wing. It's fumbles a go-go as Pluples is brought to ground.
Bit of heat in it already. Kimber just gave someone a nice little shove to get up then.
Kimber familiar with this ground. She spent a year with the Suns. Probably familiar with it anyway.
Speaking of her.
Oh, I think my membership of the Kaylee Kimber fan club was revealed a long time ago. Finds Davis in the middle of the park. And yes, we have Davis and Davies. You can get over that one as well. Not her best disposal, but it may work out all right. Goes to the captain, Ship. Ship, long run. Drills it inside 50. Gregory had front position, couldn't hold on. Plenty of pressure behind her. O'Brien picks up and is wrapped up by Clark. 15 minutes plus time on in this grand final. And we had several quarters in the reserve grade go beyond 20 minutes. Balcom. Been outstanding, was Bond's best on ground in the prelim against Aspley last week, and Ship seeks the same safety of the boundary. .60 from goal. Might go to Sky in a moment just to get a bit of an update on the conditions. I think Hannah was down there earlier today as well, but we'll stay with the play just for the moment. As it's knocked away, Ship will put the tackle on. Falls out towards Nolan. Nolan keeps it wide. Good work from the retiring Priest at the back. Retiring in career only. She's not retiring in any other part of her life. Good charge down. In fact, Kimber's down. I think she might have worn that one in the face, although she is switching, shaking her arm at the moment. Sky, anything you've noticed early?
No, so far it's been very interesting. The setups are not as strong as they normally are. They're doing mostly one-on-one around the ground. You know, normally you can see some walls and that, but it is early days. The
Ship goes up towards Gregory. Played for Queensland early this year. Lightfoot, wrapped up by Davies. Hannah, you felt the conditions earlier while Sky and I were calling reserve grade. How did it feel out there?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. It's 28 degrees down there, and it absolutely feels like it. I was sweating just sitting on the sideline doing nothing. But the interesting moment was that there was little to no wind. So
just 1 second. Maddie Watt winning a free kick for holding the ball. Continue.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, nothing too hectic down there with the wind so far.
Sorry for cutting you off. I just wanted to reward Maddie Watt, because as tough as she is, I don't want any of her friends coming after me afterwards. Kimber did well in a one-on-one, played wide, looking for O'Brien, who was a little bit late to get the message, but made up for it with some powerful running. Inside to Davies, who's been involved early. Was dropped to reserve grade at one point this year, Hannah Davies, so she kicked 5 goals and came back. I'll tell you answer that. Welsh didn't quite get hands around it. And Sky White getting involved early in defence. Who's loose? I can see Pluple's a little bit on her own fairway from the contest.
Yeah, she is kind of being manned by Talia Mayer. She's like I said, just giving her, she's there, enough to get to her.
Zarafa deep inside 50. Just goes past Gregory, but Barron's goal side. Wasn't able to get hands on the ball. Seemed to fumble out. A diving effort from White to open the scoring in the least damaging way possible. Talking with a couple of people who know their footy better than me before the game, and they say basically this is where football is set up. How they're setting up now is the most accurate thing. Gemma Blair, not one of her best kicks, turns it over.
Not who you want intercept marking in the forward 50 either.
Dakota Barron?
Yeah.
Yeah, so her set shot's still developing. She is an outstanding contested mark. At this stage, she does have good days and bad days, but I expect that to be a very temporary part of Barron's career.
She did look to pass it off. I just don't think anyone was set up quick enough.
So Dakota Barron, plenty of goals this year. Just misses to the right.
That's
a
a
two-point
big
lead.
kick though for,
Yeah.
you know, what, 40 out would you say?
Probably.
Yeah, big kick, just a little bit to the right, so not too bad.
So Bond come the other way this time. Blair got a bit close to the mark and it came straight back to her. Gets a second chance. Running into trouble. Nervous start from Blair. Balcombe handballed out. The pressure. This is the pressure from Southport they put on. Fogus not quite able to and then kept in skillfully by Bond. Harris plays the 1-2 with Nolan. Only just failed. But some skillful play from both white and blue.
That was great, wasn't it? That's how you do the little tap. You just don't take possession at all. Just get it forward. Not the worst outcome and ball up.
Megan Hunt in the pink boots in the foreground. If she wins today, first player on record to win premierships with 3 different clubs, Cooperoo and UQ before now. And if she scores today, 9th player to score 100 goals in this competition. And just inside, I thought that was going to be out on the full from Landwehr. And then a strong tackle from Courtney Sexton.
God, she's good, isn't she? She's just like a little bull. Like, she hits the contest so hard. Her tackle pressure is unreal.
Number 2 for tackles this year, 1 behind Jane Childs of UQ. But they don't put a Geiger counter on those. Davis better positioned. Milne, normally a forward, but has been playing in defence through the finals. Well picked up by Parker. Back inside to Harris. Has time for a bounce. Players going goal side. Plenty streaming forward. Maisie Evans is. Also running for is Leah Kaslar. They've put the tackle on Priest. Kaslar watching over, but Maisie Evans did the hard work.
Very lucky. Priest just hesitated to pick it up, didn't she? It just gave Bond that second to close in on her.
And Southport haven't nominated anyone for the ruck yet. Kimber eventually gets there. Not every umpire, who I'll name in a moment, would have let that go as long. Not able to hold on is Parker, trying to get space, and eventually pulled away by Baltase. Joe Baltase, one of many Southport players who have come down from the Northern Territory. Turned it over to Samuels, natural left footer. Beautiful work coming from the back. And that was Emma Suckling. It's come from the Canberra competition. Mown down by Nyali Milne. Took too long, play on. Clark, kicked from about 70, will be told to come back behind the mark.
They're going to bring it all the way back.
No, it's downtown.
No, they're going to go downfield. Bit of confusion there.
Well, I think was she taken out after the play? I was watching the flight of the ball, but I think Clark may have been knocked over. That's why it's a downtown to Leah Kaslar, the first Gold Coast Suns captain, back on her old home ground. One of the genuine legends of Queensland women's Aussie rules. Opens the scoring in the 2024 Bond University QAFLW Grand Final.
That's great, isn't it? To get a goal coming from tackle pressure from Milne there, to get a bit of reward, and even to see after that her teammates did get around her too, just to let her know, good job. That's a good start for Bond.
That blue headgear is becoming increasingly famous. I remember Zamuli Farquharson began her career in headgear and then eventually decided, no, I want to be able to see more. Maybe Nyali Milne the same way. Of course, the Burleigh connection, people like Nyali Milne and Havana Harris, they won a junior under-17 grand final on this ground 2 years ago, where they scored over 70 points, and Milne was captain of that side, so she has leadership in her future as well. Georgia Davis with the hit out. Free kick to Bond University to Clark. Not to Clark. Has to come back inside to Nolan. Will rotate between midfield and half forward usually. Shannon Nolan, well picked off by Ebony Milne. Came to Southport as a winger, now a rebounding defender, has had an outstanding year. Picks out a target and Fogus. Fogus through the middle. Looking for Maddie Watt. Did a lead, led well. Found Megan Hunt behind her. Has Baldwin on the lead. She's been brilliant. Maddie Baldwin was a defender until about 6 months ago. And this year, goals galore.
Can we just note it as Maddie goes back for a shot on goal that Meg Hunt does not have long sleeves on today?
That's how hot it is.
It is hot. I wonder if that's going to mess with her superstitions.
More on that in a moment, but right now, it's all about Maddie Baldwin. Came up from Victoria a couple of years ago. Her teammates call her a beast. That's a quick reply. Southport regained the lead here at People First Stadium.
The one thing I did really notice about that transition of play is how quickly Southport were wanting to move it. There was probably like 3-4 possessions, and they either just took off straight away or got the handball out to the running player. We might be getting a little bit of a glimpse into their game plan, Daniel.
Well, we've seen both sides do exactly what they like to do. But, of course, that all started with Ebony Milne's intercept. And then Fogus, who I just love watching Fogus run. The way she can even deliberately fumble into space to create extra space for herself. It's a skill, and I love it.
Yeah, once she's moving, not much is going to stop her, that's for sure.
No, it's very glad to have her up in the Queensland State League this year. So, as Jeff Newman always used to say, this is the first grand final without Jeff Newman for a while. Maddie Watt with a big tackle. It was only a matter of time. Ball fell loose. Clark deep inside 50. The lead was on. Just running underneath it was Bella Davies. Milne running through. Nyali Milne. Now this is interesting. It's been called a behind. It brushed the inside of the post.
Everyone in the crowd thought that was in there, and it did look in, but the umpire was all over that.
I thought there may have been a bit of parallax error. But Zoe Matthews, goal umpire, was all over it. Outside 50 to a 2-on-2, taken by Plooples, had to cough it up. Maisie Evans then had a Plooples on her back. Khalija, wrapped up by Kimber. Today's umpires in the field, Justin Lillicrap, Tyler Hickson and Noah Perza-Page. On the boundary, Taryn Ambashire and Andrew Barnes. And in goal, Zoe Matthews and Hayden McLennan. Brought to you by Bradnam's Windows and Doors, and we thank them for their multi-year sponsorship and support of our umpires. Paris Lightfoot in the centre square will go to the left, finds Talia Meyer. Picked up by O'Brien. Not her best kick, just goes past Grace Moody, and then clever hands inside from Ruby Mitchell to Abby Plooples. Just knocked out of the hands, that has been called holding. Well done, Paris Lightfoot. And unlucky Abby Plooples. Lightfoot will keep it wide. Clears everyone. Kimber will retreat. Just gets away from Davies. Show and go, and she is not frightened to go across. Maybe not on that occasion. Bella Davies streaming through. Sexton in support. Sexton inside. Kaslar!
Oh no, that is a risky move, always cutting across the back line like that. And a missed kick. Coaching staff probably won't be happy with that. Bond have just absolutely swooped on it and made an opportunity out of that.
To be fair, I've seen Kimber make that kick many, many times this season. That's probably the first time she's missed a target. So
yeah, she will be kicking herself. These things happen. It's just, when you make that kick, you want it to be either the person completely free or even just a little bit higher up in the 50, so then it doesn't turn into a dangerous situation.
But let's praise the attack as well. When you get presented with a gift like that, you still need to make sure you don't squander it.
That's great forward pressure.
And the ball movement as well. They had players in support. They didn't just say, oh, there's a forward up there, they'll do the job. Kaslar benefited. Tap down to Sexton. Bond on the move again. Goes wide. Siobhan Ross, first year at this level, and she's been magnificent. Being tracked by Nolan. Heading towards the boundary. It's a good one-on-one battle. Nolan may have got the better of it. Helped out by Charlotte Taylor. Ross didn't keep her feet, but did superbly well on the ground. I think it's one of those occasions where, no, in fact, she's been pinged for holding it in. So Nolan has the free kick. Influential early. Not her best kick. And that must have gone 15.01 metres. Khalija looking towards centre half forward. Beats everyone again. Rihanna Ship going back. Needs to connect on this near side. Didn't really have anyone to do it. Samuels. They've done well enough. Taylor Gregory, not a bad effort with the left foot. Just is able to clear 50. Salisbury held her feet well. Moody in support. Moody playing very high. Landwehr behind the contest. Got some kind of kick away. Rihanna Ship, calm under pressure. Centres it. Kicks it away to Jasmine Davidson. Davidson at one end, Kimber at the other. Beats everyone. Lots of carnage on the ground. Ship thought about a handball, skillfully reeled it back in. Comes towards the near side looking for Davies. Landwehr gets there first. Landwehr back inside. Lots of repeat entries. Kaslar with front position. Sexton. Tackle well by O'Brien and Watt. Comes out towards Mitchell. Samuels on the ground. Landwehr over it, as is Watt.
It's interesting. You can really tell the pressure in the game. I think the skills are really not where the girls can be at the moment because there's just so much pressure in and around the ball, and they're just trying to like clear it out.
It's almost like ... a grand final.
Exactly right, Daniel. It'll be great when they really settle into the game, like get those nerves out, settle into the game, and just clean it up a little bit. 3
years ago, we had a star-studded grand final between UQ and Bond University. I think there was something like 30 past and present AFLW players on the ground. It was ridiculous. Now, they're appealing for deliberate. It has been called so.
I reckon they were looking at the umpire saying that before it had rolled over. They knew what was coming.
Now, it's like cricket. You've got to appeal. So Ari Clark, I beg your pardon, prefers the short form. Deep inside 50. That's superb from Davis. And that's the kind of thing I was talking about. The ruck battle between Davis and Harris will be whatever it is. But it's their work around the ground that's going to determine so much about this contest. Well passed from Davis to O'Brien. O'Brien in space. That's a kick she'd like to have again. Retreating was Welsh, and she won it. Not enough numbers around the ball. Salisbury will clear up at the back, finds a bit of space through. And then I was about to praise her the accuracy of her kicking. It was the wrong time to do so. Zarafa. Brought down by Evans. Didn't have prior opportunity apparently, or possibly got enough of the toe to it. Milne is wrapped up by Ferguson. Zarafa, ball up. Now I should mention we are getting live stats today from the team at iSports Solutions, who've been helping us all year with the stats. If you follow iSports Solution on social media, Instagram probably the best one, but there are others. We'll come back to that. Ploople's deep inside 50, looking for the target. Davidson got front position. It fell to O'Brien. Goes check side. Balcombe streaming back. It took a leg break. O'Brien misses to the left. Margin reduced to 4. Steph O'Brien showing how little opportunity she needs. Short version. Follow iSports Solutions on social media and there will be stats updated quarter by quarter.
For those at home, Daniel, have we had a jumper change today? For Bond University?
Yeah, okay. So Havana Harris is in 63. I'll explain that in a moment. As Baldwin attacks from the back, Balcombe is able to hook up towards Samuels. I've noticed they keep getting the jersey wrong because when they wear the blue jerseys, Harris wears 63. When they wear the white jersey, she switches to 61.
It's different, right.
Georgia Davis always wears 27 and often takes intercept marks like that. But no, very observant, Sky. Davis, she's a long kick and found Welsh. And that's probably the first time today that Bond hasn't marked up properly. Welsh plays on quickly. Looks like it'll fall short. Baldwin used the body superbly.
That was absolutely so smart by Welsh. She knew the forward line was empty and just got it on the boot to get it down there. Then it's a one-on-one with Maddie and she can go to work. You know, if you take your time, defenders flood in.
Maddie Baldwin already has a goal today. You can double it.
She's really in good form, Maddie Baldwin, isn't she? She's just, especially towards the back end of the year, you've seen her growing confidence and she's strong at the ball and now she's getting goal after goal. She's just unstoppable at the moment. She,
of course, is one of 2 players who switched from defence to forward. Baldwin, I think they just put because there was a gap there and suddenly, what is it? She's up to 28 goals this year. She had 2 last year playing as a defender. But the other one, Alana Welsh, I felt that she struggled as a halfback earlier in the year. When she moved up to forward, suddenly, I think, 13 goals in the last 3 games or something ridiculous like that.
She's also having an absolute pearler of a year.
So we've had 3 lead changes already as Harris wins the ruck, gets the clearance, goes deep inside 50. It'll have to be to a one-on-one, clears everyone, and in the end out of bounds.
She's an absolute superstar, isn't she, Havana Brown? Oh, my God, I just went to DJ mode. Havana Brown, Havana Harris, excuse me. She's an absolute talent. To be able to ruck and then take it out and run like that is so impressive.
Yeah. And look, today I'm focusing on the fact that she's playing ruck for Bond University and may win her 2nd premiership in 2 years. There is a lot of draft talk about her. If you type in Havana Harris into Google, you can come up with about 300 articles talking about her. I just wanted to enjoy her footy, so I'm not going to add to the noise.
Yes, no, it's about the granny today.
The Southport, an important clearance. They come wide. Good work by Milne, just got it away. In fact, it was Suckling to Milne. Harris again. Thumps in. She's got an effortless 50-metre kick. Not quite able to find Davies. May find Khalija. Not quite able to keep it in. Just looked to be on the edge of the fingers as she crossed the boundary.
Yeah, the boundary umpire was in perfect positioning then.
We haven't seen it yet, but the flying marking ability of Dakota Barron at one end and Ella Khalija at the other could be its own highlights reel today. Let's hope so. Boundary throw in the southwestern pocket. Davies using her body well. Hunt is pushed over, got it to O'Brien. Well pilfered, I think, by Parker. And the free kick to Southport goes to O'Brien. Southport needs to come wide, kicked it into the foot. That was brilliant work from Parker. Has to play the wraparound. Ross, who is genuinely two-footed. Her left foot is not much worse than her right. Kicked it away on this occasion. Taylor somehow got that past two defenders by going subterranean. Focus ran into trouble and it didn't matter. Comes back towards the boundary. It won't cross it, except like that.
It's really interesting to watch the setup as Southport are trying to bring it out of defensive 50. Bond had 3 or 4 spare players set up across the middle of the field, and Southport are getting all the players in to win the contest. Like, they had 3 or 4 at each contest, which is probably almost overkill. But even when they win it, they've then got nowhere to go. So maybe they just need to pull that 1 or 2 players out.
Good pickup, and I've got a follow-up question in a moment. And that is Taylor clearing it, Ross intercepts. And that is a Southport saying, well, we can afford to compact it because we've got the speed.
I don't know. That's a Doc question, isn't it? We don't know what a coach is thinking.
O'Brien, well held by Davidson, definitely affected the disposal, and then the follow-up tackle was very, very strong from Taylor Gregory, who is from Newcastle.
Throw that in there.
Always, always. Otherwise I don't get paid. Just taking her eyes off it at the back of the contest was Landwehr. Nolan using her speed. Comes wide, needs to go to a one-on-one, and in the end it was a one-on-none with Siobhan Ross. That'll be quarter time as she and Leah Kaslar make friends as soon as they made enemies.
Yeah. Nice little tap.
2-3-15 to Southport, both goals to Maddie Baldwin, and 2-1-13 to Bond University, both goals to Leah Kaslar. This is the 24th grand final of the Bond University QAFLW here from People First Stadium.
There's a shark out to start things in the seniors grand final with 2 goals apiece.
My favourite things about being an umpire would be making friends, getting fit and getting involved in the game. You're a big part of the game as an umpire, so it's a great way to get involved in the game.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved in the game, even at my age and my level of fitness, and actually being able to be out there with a great group of people. It's fantastic.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved with footy, making new friends and getting paid to be involved in the game I love.
Definitely get involved. It is a great way to stay fit. It's a great inclusive community. It's a very supportive community, and it's a job that anyone can do. Doesn't matter about your gender, doesn't matter about your age, your fitness abilities. It's just a great way to be involved in the AFL.
I would encourage anyone to get involved in umpiring. It's fantastic, it's fun, and you get paid to be involved in the sport that you love.
Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympic? Inside this building is a simulated hospital ward, a high-tech biomechanics lab, a commercial kitchen, and a whole virtual home. Let's explore the new Bond Institute of Health and Sport in just 61 seconds. This is the 12-bed simulation hospital ward. From day one, Bond students gain hands-on experience in allied health and exercise science. This is the Work Play Lab, which gives students the opportunity to provide occupational therapy for our youngest, while the Activities of Daily Living Lab simulates a full home environment, giving students the chance to practice mobility work with our wisest. From sprinting to golf swings, this track can track it. Using pressure sensors and high-speed cameras, it can analyze anything from age-related conditions to elite sports training. Wow. The Kitchen Lab has solar-powered sustainable cooking stations, giving postgrad nutrition and dietetic students access to commercial-grade equipment. Thank you. Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? I've got 61 seconds to race you through the life of a student in the Bond Elite Sport Program. Strap in. Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain, supporting student athletes like Mia. Student athletes have access to flexible study loads, adjusted academic requirements, and tutoring. The top tier of student athletes even receive funding to assist with their travel and competition costs. Bond also runs 4 high-performance sporting programs that field competitive teams. There's netball, rugby, AFL, and swimming. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Whether it's producing world-class athletes or offering scholarships to high-achieving students every single year, sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Just 1 quarter down in the 2024 Bond University QAFLW Grand Final. We've had 3 lead changes already. 2 goals to Maddie Baldwin for Southport, 2 to Leah Kaslar for Bond University. Thank you for joining us wherever you are around Australia, around the world. Thank you for joining us on the official AFLQ YouTube channel. My name is Daniel Viles. Great pleasure to be with you. With me is Sky Burgess. Now, iSport Solutions, follow them on social media and you'll be able to get statistical updates there. Sky, what do you make of the stats of the first quarter?
Yeah, as you would expect, you know, not much score difference, close game. The stats are pretty similar across the board, but Southport really dominating intercept marks at the moment, 8-2. So they're very well known for doing that, especially across the halfback. We see the likes of Kaylee Kimber and that they'll just turn it around and off they go. So that's the main difference at the moment. So whether Bond need to combat that or they focus on, you know, their own strengths, we'll see in the next quarter. They've been spoken to by the coach, so we'll see what happens now.
Hannah Davies was hovering around the Southport huddle, so she'll be back upstairs in a moment and will let us know what was said by Doc Doherty in the Southport huddle. Just back to those intercept marks, I suspect that Ebony Milne might have been responsible for a couple of those as well, and I was very pleased to praise her in the first quarter. We'll shortly be back underway. Southport running to the right of screen, which was the scoring end in the reserve grade grand final. Still Harris and Davies in the ruck. We've not seen the usual changes where Harris will swap with usually Maisie Evans and Georgia Davis with Taylor Gregory. They've played all 20 minutes of the first quarter in the engine room. Knocked out towards Zarafa. Suckling did well. Came in off her wing. Mitchell back to Suckling. Over the shoulder to Zarafa. Tasmanian Northern Territory and the ACT combining in the one move. Hannah Davies, when you get your breath back and when I stop standing on your headphone cord.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, just went down and sat in the Southport Sharks huddle. Now, mostly it's just about speed for them. They want to take the opportunities a little bit quicker, reset quicker, change up the matchups quicker. But interestingly, this quarter, Doc told the girls to use the breeze to their advantage. He said, go long, take the territory. There is a little bit of a breeze heading to the right now. Selena Priest said, you know, the nerves are out. And Doc was just saying, love your start and keep going.
Finally turned over by Bond after a long period of attacking pressure. Kicked away to Rihanna Shipp. Now, she has kicked 50-metre goals in this competition, but not from set shots, and they tend to trickle through for the last 10 metres. That's not meant to be criticism. Looking for a shorter target. I think she's missed Barron, and in the end kicked it away to Balcom. Got the first letter right. First 2 letters right. Balcom into the pocket. Finds Harris, who was unnecessarily balletic, but I appreciate it. Next one-on-one contest involves Sexton against Milne. Inside from Maisie Evans in the 56 jersey. And it looked like high contact, and that's how it's been called. So Talia Meyer at right halfback. And she comes more centrally to Landwehr. It's played in both Victoria and the Northern Territory. Didn't quite hit the target. Got to Sexton eventually. Back towards Zarafa. Long kicking Zarafa. Played 2 games for Wilston Grange last year. And then hooked up with a few other Waratahs teammates, including Megan Hunt and Steph O'Brien. This play just gets bogged down, but eventually Sky White did superbly well on that right-hand side on the 50. Sexton's getting involved in the marking contest, which is not usually her bag. And then O'Brien caught in possession. Ari Clark. Southport with the territory, but not quite the penetration yet. Maybe Ship's long kick was their best opportunity. Kimber keeping her feet against Collegia. Knocked back towards Meyer. Big tackle from Ross. Releases Mitchell. Hello to AFL Tasmania if you're watching. Nice post about Gemma Blair and Ruby Mitchell during the week.
It's very interesting. I've noticed Bond have dropped a spare back into Southport's forward 50. She's almost shadowing the one-on-one with Gregory. So she's a spare, but she's following Gregory wherever she goes. So whether they're, using her for multiple reasons, like be the spare in the hole, but also be there to make that a 2-on-1 with Gregory.
Interesting. Keep an eye on that one.
Yeah.
It's almost like the way, just to sort of cross code for a moment, the way rugby league defences will change from a sliding defence to an up and in defence. It's almost as though she's, if the defender in question, who was it? I missed who you were talking about in that hole, but if they're good enough to know when to switch modes, then that could be a wonderful role to play, because Taylor Gregory, if you give her space to mark, she will clunk it.
Yeah, it's Paris Lightfoot at the moment.
Yeah, I'd back her. She may lose, but she won't be outskilled, if that makes sense. Maddie Watt working hard on the ground, and water makes things wet. O'Brien, Zarafa. Goes the 1-1, Barron flew. Didn't come down with it. Balcom clears. Comes near side, Rihanna Ship. Got front position, used her speed to generate strength, if that makes sense. Then just possibly off the feet of Taylor. Either way, it's just an ordinary throw-in. Hannah, I'm interested in the atmosphere around the ground. I'll have to steal the mic from you if the play gets exciting here. But yeah, how's it feel with the energy of the crowd and so forth?
Yeah, well, it's hard to see from the camera angle, but there's several hundreds down there. Right now, Bond Uni are winning the competition of who can be the loudest, but yeah, the Fanatics are certainly out in force today.
I have noticed too, the Southport VFL boys are all down here in numbers. I don't know whether Bond's male team are hiding somewhere under the grandstand we can't see, but it's so awesome to see the boys get out here and support the girls.
Well, they may have something to cheer about in a moment, because Megan Fogus has a free kick, effective in so many parts of the ground. She's slightly to the right of goal, will kick from about 30. It's a measured run up. Misses to the right. And the gap increases by 50%. Yes, often when tenants come in for stadiums like this, you see it at the Gabba for matches that aren't the very biggest matches, where they'll only allow spectators in one part of the ground. There's lots of good reasons for that. But if you could just pretend that there's a lot of people on the other side of the ground hollering for this. As I think, yes, Dakota Barron's going to need to fetch this herself, because umpires are not allowed to leave the playing arena.
Danielle, I'll just say it's really hot down there as well, and I think that's another reason why all of the fans have retreated to the shade. You know, you've got to feel for the players. About half of the field right now is sheltered, but the other half, it is hot conditions down there.
And this is August. As long as the AFLW don't do something silly like, I don't know, schedule a match in October at 11:30 in the morning, then yeah, we should be right. Dakota Barron fetches her own ball. Will kick from a long way out, looking for Gregory. Snaffled it.
What a kick. That was an absolute bullet pass into the forward 50, and Gregory to mark that, that's impressive. This is a tricky shot from where she is. Very, very tight round on the boundary.
Be around the body snap. Davis is there. Davis used her body well. Was up against Mia Salisbury, who she'll know well from Suns Academy in Queensland under-18s. And Salisbury's the better passer, but that wasn't the requisite skill in that situation.
And Bond have just left that middle open. If I was a Southport player, I would be running down her inside.
Focus could, but Davis doesn't need her.
Anyway,
Georgia Davis through the middle.
I was going to say another tight angle. You know, teammate runs past 10 metres central. There was no Bond girls there to defend, but for her to kick that goal, that's impressive. That's a hard angle.
I think there's been a return of the drop punt in this, where a lot of kicking styles were getting funky for a while, but you look at a lot of the younger players coming through, male and female, their kicking technique is perfect. So if you trust your technique, doesn't matter the angle, just thread it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you see it in the AFL now. guys will snap when they're in front. They'll prefer to take the snap, and they're making it all difficult and stuff. So yeah, it's good to see the girls get back to basics, and it's a little bit more accurate unless you're confident.
Sky Burgess, I think we found the one thing where you agree with 70-year-old blokes in bars. That's a magnificent piece of overlap. Just outside the centre circle. Of course, the shadow's lengthening from the near side. Davies didn't quite have the strength on the handball, was picked off. Nolan's away. Goes inside 50. Milne misread that, and Kimber ended up taking an easier mark than she thought she'd need to. Comes wide. Taylor did well. Taylor saw that from a fair way away. She's kicked from 50. Looking for a target, and that is brilliant. Kaylee Kimber.
She saves the day again. That was so good by Taylor, though. She could see them switching and just attacked the ball.
Just as Parker did. And I think either the mark's been paid or it was high contact. It was contesting, but over the shoulder. Confirmed by umpiring expert Hannah Davies. We value you, Hannah. Well, I do. Southport, again, it's the contests. Clark wasn't able to get it. Came inside. Mitchell was Davis's pass earlier. Barron wrapped up by Davidson and Moody.
We will just keep an eye on Southport. Steph O'Brien. She was a bit sore and slow to get up from that contest.
Evans with a crossfield clearance. Got a bit of distance on it. Pluples versus Samuels. Samuels gets there first. Pluples held her feet. Will just knock it into space. Was even able to knock it forward when she was stumbling. Zarafa completes the tackle on Blair. Now we have had a ruck change. Maisie Evans has made the expected switch with Havana Harris. Evans actually #1 for hit-outs in the competition this year, but doesn't have the fame of some of her contemporaries as Samuels finds Khalija. Khalija, it's over the head of Kaslar. Doing well in defence was Baltaze. Davies was indecisive and Priest punished her. Nice little farewell present for Selena Priest. It's like, hey, you want to tackle? I'll just run into you.
I know, that was a very strong tackle. She was not letting her go anywhere.
Crossfield kick. That's what they were trying to do when they conceded the goal earlier. Siobhan Ross comes wide just over the head of Suckling. We had a very good match against Cooperoo in the elimination final. Picked off by Nolan. Nolan heads towards goal. It's a miss kick. Goes through the legs of Priest. 2-on-1. Davies with the tackle. Needs a bit of communication. Parker. Bronte Parker.
That was rough, wasn't it? Priest just had to, outnumbered. She tried her best. She stayed on her feet, but Bond were just smart. They used each other, the two players, separated, got the hands out, and there's not much you can do to defend that, unfortunately.
And the two players in question, Bella Davies in #1, Bronte Parker in #35, they came into the side late in the season. The reason Bonds had such stability in their side is because when they lost a few players, they've had inside midfielders injured galore. Parker came up from under-17s, Davies came up from reserve grade, and it's just been continuous. Hannah, in a moment, just interested in anything you can see about the body language, any changes in that around the team. Sometimes, I mean, both these teams are mentally very strong, as Southport will have a free kick from the middle. But sometimes after a couple of goals, or you've got the lead and then it's lost, you think, ugh.
I think the spirits are still pretty high from both sides. When I was having a look at Bond's interchange bench earlier in the last quarter, Paris Lightfoot was doing an enormous amount of work actually off the field to just lift the spirits and organise that defence, which she is so brilliant at doing. And I think now that she's been more involved on the field, it's really paying off.
Balcom's kick charged down by Barron. Thank you, Hannah. Barron on a narrow angle, looks centrally because Alana Welsh will stroll in. The charge down from Dakota Barron, and then the vision. Wasn't just impressed with her own charge down, kept her feet, thought, oh, Alana, you look a bit lonely there. Here, have a football.
Now, Danielle, I will say we did notice Southport's Steph O'Brien come off the field. We might throw to our boundary rider, Hannah. Hannah, have you got any update on Steph for us?
Look, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I can just see that Steph's getting worked on by one of the physios. She's been off for a couple minutes now. The look on her face is that she is in a little bit of discomfort, but I'm hoping that it's just maybe a cramp or a corky and she'll be back on soon.
Yeah, Beauty, we'll keep an eye on her.
Thanks very much, Sky and Hannah. Southport up towards Barron again. Why wouldn't you? Found Welsh on the weaker left foot. Has Baldwin in the goal square. Nearly came down with it. Davies behind. Backing up was Fogus. Enough Bond numbers are there. Moody, Davidson, usual suspects. Of course, as brilliant as Steph O'Brien is, Southport don't rely on her, if that doesn't sound too unkind. Fogus.
Which is interesting, isn't it? You know, like one of your best players to not be reliant. That just shows the depth of talent they have. You know, they can easily find a replacement of one of their best players, which is a pretty good thing to have in a team.
There are worse problems, aren't there?
I know.
Yes. Southport on the attack. Davidson versus Barron. Knocked away cleverly by, I think, Moody. They've cleared 50, but Ship, even with a bad bounce, still has plenty of time. Low kick inside. Nearly found Davies. And, in fact, she may have been brought down by Clark. Well, it's a Southport free kick either way. I think maybe the signal was for a throw. I can't read fluent Tyler Hickson, unfortunately. But it's Hannah Davies. Not a prolific season with the boot, but she's created so many goals for others with her forward pressure. Set shot from about 45. There was a finger, I think, from Davidson just before the line, so just a minor score. And Southport lead by 10.
They're set up. They're being really disciplined, Southport. You can watch across the middle of the ground now, and they've got that wall set up, players on their own, and they're just being disciplined and allowing the ball to come to them.
Bond been trapped in their own defensive 50 for a while. They've got a mark through Meyer. And then to Harris, who less ballistic than she was earlier. And yes, we're all looking at the ankles, aren't we? Don't roll them, Havana.
I know, she just looked to jolt a little bit when she landed then.
Davies correctly played the mark. That's Bella Davies at Bond University. Then there's Hannah Davies, both of them, and Georgia Davis, because she's Welsh. Inside to Harris. If that was a deliberate pass, it was genius. Harris, about 80 from goal, looking for Kalija! And yes, it's if you go too early, Ella, and you don't mark it, it's either glory or a free kick. How's Steph O'Brien looking, Hannah?
It looks like she's getting the left knee strapped, and I'm somehow not surprised that a netballer such as herself is having knee issues right now.
Ill communication, thank you, Hannah. Coughs the ball up, and then away to Davies. Milne, just handball went behind her. Zarafa through the middle, looking upfield for Welsh. Overkicked it, Balcom took a good mark. Sophie Balcom, who's with a few other players in the competition, preparing for a half marathon later this year, so she won't get tired. Switches the play. Front position taken by Milne and was probably unlucky not to come down with it. Got good support from Ship. And eventually being wrapped up in the tackle was Harris. Yes, O'Brien last year lost the netball grand final in dramatic circumstances, missed the Aussie Rules grand final in dramatic circumstances, so already 2024 is a bit better for her. Bond University working well in defence. That's Lightfoot. She wants to walk away a winner today. Just not quite brought down from Kimber. Davies out wide towards Salisbury. Kimber with a quadruple effort. Salisbury on the ground. Watt pilfers it. Kalija with the handball into space. Davis comes near side back to Kimber, who gets what she wanted in the first place. Runs away from Milne, possibly ran into trouble. Fogus tried to get away from Milne, succeeded. More volleyball. Watt, eventually some space. Gregory, good punch from the back from Sky White. Harris into space. Harris, low driving kick, just a little bit too far for Kaslar. Out towards Milne, they've got the numbers. Baltays, Ship. Ship settles. There's a pun there. I'm not going to use it. Over the head of Mitchell. Balcon. Also from Newcastle. Nearly forgot to mention that. And a free kick to Southport. They've had the better of this quarter overall. Good punch at the back from Blair. Dispossessed Welsh. Pressure from Fogus. Found Meyer. Plays the 1-2. Blair keeps it wide. Not her best kick. Intercepted by Ship in the purple boots. Southport by 10. Deep in the second. Not Ship's best kick. Out on the full. Is this a late opportunity? We don't have access to the timekeeper's clock, so we are as in the dark as you are.
Maybe a little bit of fatigue from the girls out there. They got the free kick and they were so slow to move. Even once they started moving, they were only just jogging. So it is a really hot day out there. We might be seeing some fatigue.
Harris breaks away. And if Harris is making kicks like that, we have a boundary throw in, then no, it's a fair point you make.
Yeah, it's a lot about vibe in that too. You know, if you've got the free kick and the chance to go, like, you should be streamlined and like, go, go, go. And there just didn't seem to be that enthusiasm.
There are studies being done all the time about the psychological effect of tiredness. And I'm sure that there are studies being done as well about, you know, what happens to your psychology when free kicks go for you or free kicks go against you.
Absolutely. It's a lot of mind game.
Some smart women on that field. There's quite a few degrees. Beautiful handball. Maddie Watt involved again, the number one handballer for the year in this competition. Ship had some space, looks inside, found Zarafa. She won't handball, she'll pump it. Looking up towards Welsh, worked hard to get front position, at least half the contest. Back towards Gregory, she was under pressure, swept by Salisbury. She will look wide because that's what she does. Looking for Meyer, tracked by Ship. Boundary throw in as we approach 20 minutes. Because one of Bond's problems is they've got the most talented group of runners out there today. Charlie Adamson, Tara Harrington and Ava Usher. You can make a decent midfield out of the three players running water. Yeah, not quite how Andy Lovell wanted to use them. Harris back in the contest against Davis. Salisbury under pressure from Watt. Watt wins the free kick, rightly so.
That's her bread and butter right there. Tackle and turnover.
It's in print now, so I may as well say it out loud. Maddie Watt is my Zilke medal prediction. She's and if she doesn't win that, she is the fat, balding, middle-aged commentator player of the year. Very prestigious. Hit space. There has been a free kick found, and it will go to... I thought I saw the arm go up to Bond University. It has. Because I think at one point, Southport was saying, why not play the advantage? And he had to say, because it's not your free kick.
Other way. Even kicked after, you know, to not give away a 50 there is like, oh, he has paid it. I was going to say they did kick it after he blew the whistle, so.
You don't take on Tyler.
It has been really good umpiring today, Daniel, I have to say.
The umpires, they want a perfect game. They have been dreaming all week about nailing every decision. Nolan flying, probably got up to other people's height. Well kicked forward by, might be Brown. And taken by Lightfoot. Tiani Brown been a great addition since coming up from Shepparton. Ari Clark, so good to see. It took a few years off footy, back in the QAFLW this year. And of course, best on ground for Queensland against Tasmania a few months ago. Samuels.
I just wanted to throw in there, you know, I don't often get to do interviews with the umpires as opposed to players, but I did speak to Tyler before the game and he was saying that, you know, last couple of women's grand finals, he was the reserve umpire, but he was really happy to be on the field. So it's brilliant to see that the umpires, you know, how much this means to them as well to make their way through the ranks.
Congratulations to Tyler Higson and congratulations to Southport, who haven't won anything yet, but they do have a 10-point lead at half-time of the 24th Bond University QAFLW Grand Final. It's a pleasure to have your company wherever you are. This is People First Stadium, and thank you for joining us on the official AFLQ YouTube channel.
My favourite things about being an umpire would be making friends, getting fit and getting involved in the game. You're a big part of the game as an umpire, so it's a great way to get involved in the game.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved in the game, even at my age and my level of fitness, and actually being able to be out there with a great group of people. It's fantastic.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved with footy, making new friends and getting paid to be involved in the game I love.
Definitely get involved. It is a great way to stay fit. It's a great inclusive community. It's a very supportive community and it's a job that anyone can do. Doesn't matter about your gender, doesn't matter about your age, your fitness abilities. It's just a great way to be involved in the AFL.
I would encourage anyone to get involved in umpiring. It's fantastic, it's fun, and you get paid to be involved in the sport that you love.
Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been every Olympics since 1992? Inside this building is a simulated hospital ward, a high-tech biomechanics lab, a commercial kitchen, and a whole virtual home. Let's explore the new Bond Institute of Health and Sport in just 61 seconds. This is the 12-bed simulation hospital ward. From day one, Bond students gain hands-on experience in allied health and exercise science. This is the Work Play Lab, which gives students the opportunity to provide occupational therapy for our youngest, while the Activities of Daily Living Lab simulates a full home environment, giving students the chance to practice mobility work with our wisest. From sprinting to golf swings, this track can track it. Using pressure sensors and high-speed cameras, it can analyze anything from age-related conditions to elite sports training. Wow. The Kitchen Lab has solar-powered sustainable cooking stations, giving postgrad nutrition and dietetic students access to commercial-grade equipment. Thank you. Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? I've got 61 seconds to race you through the life of a student in the Bond Elite Sport program. Strap in. Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain, supporting student athletes like Mia. Student athletes have access to flexible study loads, adjusted academic requirements, and tutoring. The top tier of student athletes even receive funding to assist with their travel and competition costs. Bond also runs 4 high-performance sporting programs that field competitive teams. There's netball, rugby, AFL, and swimming. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Whether it's producing world-class athletes or offering scholarships to high-achieving students every single year, sport is alive and well at Bond University.
It's a 10-point ball game here at People First Stadium in Carrara, and the Southport Sharks are currently leading this one 4-5-29 to Bond University 3-1-19. The Southport Sharks, that is, did come in as favourites for this one. Daniel, are you surprised to see this scoreline at half-time?
In terms of the season and what I would have predicted before the start of the game, no, I'm not. In terms of what I've seen in the game, I actually am surprised to see Southport 10 points ahead, because I felt that the play was a lot more even than that. And I mean, Bond University's only goal in that quarter came from not quite a defensive error, but they really had to push hard to create the 2-on-1 and score. So in terms of how it's played out, yes, but had you said to me before the game started Southport would be up by 10 at half time, I may have even said only 10.
Yeah, you're very right. And having a look on the field, you know, possession does feel quite even. Now, Sky, you've got access to some stats from the first half of footy. What are you seeing?
Yeah, you're right. It is pretty even across the board. I think the major difference we're seeing is, I touched on it earlier, that intercept mark. Southport have just absolutely dragged it out. They're 13 to Bond's 5, so they're really turning the ball over. And I think, like, the interesting stat we were speaking to a lot about, Daniel, is that forward 50 mark. Bond are yet to take a mark in their forward 50, so that just goes to show, yeah, they're getting entries, but they're not clean entries.
The last 3 games of the home and away season, Southport did not concede an inside 50 mark, just as they have here. Before that, no team all season had failed to take a forward 50 mark in any match the first 11 rounds, and then suddenly Southport pulls 3 out straight. And then even in the match against Bond University against Aspley a couple of weeks ago, they still kept their back 50 intact for another half of the match. Their defence is incredible, but also the midfield pressure is incredible. And I think people like Rihanna Shipp, who we've seen a lot of today, and Abby Pluples, are very underrated. The role that they play in locking the ball inside forward 50, or conversely in getting it out of their defensive 50. You could build a coaching video out of watching those two.
Yeah, I think you're right when you talk about the players and kind of playing their role in that defensive 50. There is so much experience in Selena Priest and those kind of players that they know not to leave players unmanned. Like, they're very, very smart in their positioning, and that just goes to show, you know, like, they're playing their roles, they're ready in the setup, but they're close enough to just at least get a fist to stop those marks from taking place.
Sky, you would have been in to a fair few huddles at halftime at Southport. What do you think Doc would be saying to the girls right now? 10 ahead, that's a pretty good lead.
It is, but it would be a don't get ahead of yourself situation. You know, we've seen how quickly these games can turn, you know, that their first final against Aspley, they won the first quarter by heaps, but then they lost the rest of the game. So you just cannot get ahead of yourself, especially in a grand final. So I think you'd just be keeping them calm, keeping them focused.
And I think it'll be very much the same on the other side. Andy Lovell is the master of halftime pump-up speeches. Like, no one can really get you revved, but also he instills this belief in his players. I think that's one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of Andy, is that belief that he gives the girls.
Look, he's been there, done that, so he comes with that gravitas anyway, but we've seen a lot of ex-players turn to coaching. It's a different skill. Not everyone has both, but Andy Lovell had an excellent playing career. He does know how to communicate. He moved up to Queensland originally to coach here. He was an assistant at the Gold Coast Suns. Bond University said, hey, we want to regenerate our football program. For the second time, they'd already done it once with the women's program. And his ability to take it to another level, did it help having a generation of Havana Harris, Ava Rusher, Tara Harrington, Josie McCabe and all the rest? Probably, but you're absolutely right. He's someone who knows the tactical game and the psychological game, in part because he knows what would have motivated him back when he was playing. And it's not always just the "you're useless, get out there and prove me wrong" kind of speech.
No, certainly not. Well, still 2 quarters of football to be played, and it's one of my favourite things is seeing the difference in, you know, mindset and body language from the two sides. You can see Southport got the huddle going on, Bond keeping it moving. Always fascinating to see how the two sides differ.
One of the things I love about this competition is there's no such thing as the best club. It's the best club for you. I see different cultures here, and we see them in microcosm now. Southport is a very intense culture, and that for people who want a wall around them and to be like, if I want to get the best out of myself, I need to be serious, I need to be focused. Southport is the club for you. Bond is a bit more relaxed, and we can see they're a bit more spaced out at the right hand of the field. They're still switched on. They're still G'ing each other up. I mean, they're not mucking around, but it is a different mindset. Now, they have gone into a huddle now, but they didn't go straight into the huddle when they got out there. And so, yeah, I see that as just a very minor and incomplete illustration of there is a subtle difference between the culture of the two clubs, and people have tried one club, not like the culture, and gone to the other in both directions.
Well, it's funny you say that, Daniel. I feel like that's almost the difference between Southport itself and Robina over where Bond University sit. Sky, you're new to the Gold Coast, but you'll soon learn they're pretty different spaces of the world.
Coast-splain this to us, Hannah. You're a local, so you walk around the streets of Southport, you walk around the streets of Robina. Give us some stereotypes, Davies.
Oh, look, let's just say you're feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more fun in the sun over at Robina, and Southport, yeah, maybe you're heading straight to the Southport Sharks.
Well, you may not know this, Hannah, but you know I don't play for Southport, but I actually live in Robina. So, I know. I drive straight to past Bond University on my way to training.
I love that.
So, but I do know what you mean. There's all the trees out in Robina, the sun is shining, it's beautiful.
And, I mean, the other 6 clubs in the competition, which, of course, will expand next year. Very exciting with Morningside and the Moreton Bay Lions coming into the competition. But again, the different ways that you can get the best out of yourself as a footballer. This is the best state league in the country. No correspondence will be entered into. Third quarter, People First Stadium. The Shark Stoush currently in favour of the Great Whites. The Bull Sharks not going anywhere. Mia Salisbury sweated on, got it out to Clark. She moves it to the left. Nolan on the volley. Taylor provides her with a shepherd. Not quite effective. Ruby Mitchell gains possession, shrugs off one tackle. Inside to Zarafa, who will kick. Out on the full.
Just after that first ball up, Daniel, I will say that ruck contest between Davis and Harris today has been outstanding. Like, there's no real winner. They're both going 100%, and it's been really good to see them have equal talent to go up against.
What are the Suns going to do?
And just a quick injury update as well. We saw Steph O'Brien getting worked on by the physio late in that second term and did a couple of tests. Looks like she's back on and raring to go.
Pleased to see it, both for Southport's chances, but also Bond University. If they are to win this, they want to beat the best side. They don't want to say, oh, well, the turning point was when Steph got injured. Interestingly, this is the now decades start with the year ending in 1. Again, no correspondence will be entered into. This is the 4th grand final of this decade. Megan Hunt and Steph O'Brien have played in 3 of them. They played in both of them for UQ. And now this one. They are winners. Mitchell has a bit of a dance with Harris. Somehow the ball squeezed out. And then Watt says, that looks like fun. I'll have a dance with Charlotte Taylor. Swing your partner round and round. Sexton clears. Milne. Inside, finds a run of Lightfoot. Tries to get away from Kimber, just succeeds. It did affect the disposal. Pluples did well, but Meyer was able to get past. Flick the ball forward. Kaslar uses her experience. An air swing from Nolan, who holds her mouth. Maybe just keep an eye on that, please, Hannah. Out towards Collegia. Ross, clever. Ross clears up the left, is looking for Davies, finds her.
Yeah, it did indeed look like the air swing went into her mouth. She came down pretty hard on the ground there, but looks to be up and about pretty quickly too.
Georgia Davis just misses taking a specky. Good work from White on the boundary. Harris not quite able to get it. Davies turned it over. Pluples out wide to Zarafa. Bumped by Clark. No mean feat. Sexton tackled to the ground. Strong work from Ruby Mitchell. Free kick to Courtney Sexton.
Just very interesting. Southport have now dropped the spare back in Maddie Baldwin, so they've moved her from the forward line to the back line and put that spare behind the ball. They're really trying to play tempo football now. You can see them out there giving the sign to just calm down.
Kicked away to Harris. Good pickup, and of course Baldwin very experienced as a defender, and there have been weeks when she's dropped back into defence this year, even in the middle of her goal scoring sprees. I'm sure Peter Doherty has problems as a coach, but that's not one of them. Ball up outside the 50. Davis getting the better of that one. Hunt clears. Looking for Gregory. Got front position well ahead of White. has focused wide. O'Brien further forward. In fact, O'Brien more or less is full forward at the moment. Got a push in the back, legal. That came out wrong. Good use of body from behind by Gemma Blair. That's what I was trying to say in the first place. Through the middle. Just short of Nolan. And then knocked away by Brown. Landwehr. Handed off to Harris. She'll drive inside 50. Read well by Baldwin. Coughs it up to Milne. Looking for space. Short dinky kick to Collegia. And the tackle was enough to put it out of bounds on the full. Tremendous work from Kaylee Kimber. Not a goal saver as such. It would have been a specky goal, but important. Southport clear 50 fairly easily, and Davis.
Yeah,
I hope there's a photo of that, sorry.
I know, I was just going to say Bond had absolutely no one on the mark then, so she was able to run out and get a bit of extra territory.
The miscommunication in the handballs between White and Meyer. Another player who we're very glad to see in Queensland was delisted by the Suns. Obviously disappointing for her, but she's got to be proud of the year she's had for Bond University. Watt scrapping on the ground. Even when she'd lost that battle, she hadn't. Forces another stoppage. Harris won the hit out, didn't really go anywhere. Davidson was roving. They go wide again to Samuels. Didn't really hit a target. Well picked off by Milne. Played for a winless Yeronga last year. He's now at least a grand finalist with Southport. Again, Southport going more or less through the corridor. O'Brien. Goal side is Zarafa. She might be able to score from here. She's got a long kick. Finds Welsh instead. Welsh has a very long kick. Just needs to be accurate. Alana Welsh. First goal of the third quarter. It hasn't made it. It didn't. It stopped on the line. Gravity is a myth.
Oh my lord, I think I started celebrating before it even went through. That is unlucky. Sometimes the draw of the ball, the bounce, the way it rolls is just unlucky.
Yeah, I think you're trying to find an explanation. I don't think there is one.
No.
Anyway, it's a ball up for Southport. Gregory front position. No issue there. Taylor Gregory. She has the first goal of the third quarter.
Yeah, interesting. Taylor Gregory, as she gets that goal, I've just noticed Sky White's really started to go to her over this quarter. I see an off ball, she's just starting to get into her, really get the bumps on. So I'm wondering whether they've maybe put a tag on, or she does seem to be very focused on her. So I'll keep an eye over it as the quarter goes on, but that will be a very interesting matchup.
Wouldn't mind seeing a replay of that. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, if you hit the left-hand side of your screen twice in a row, you can go back 10 seconds. So instant replays on demand. But, I mean, Gregory clearly got separation there. Left White in the dust.
Yeah, when it's a really contested ball like that, it makes it a little bit harder. Like for the defender, you can kind of use people as shields as the attacker, so it is kind of hard to follow someone through.
Davis, big hit out, got to Hunt, who then juggled it in four directions, quite skillfully really, but ended up losing possession. Another ball up.
We'll just throw it to our boundary rider for the day, Hannah Davies. What are you noticing down there?
Yeah, look, I'm just taking a look at Southport's interchange bench, and I think you can tell... I might just pause that thought. No, it's out of danger. You can...
Brilliant charge down from Barron. Balcom with the second attempt. We'll go back to Hannah in just a moment. Balcom did well. Had one knee on the ground. Was able to continue. White had front position. Tackled by O'Brien. Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah, you can tell Southport are feeling comfortable because they've been able to take off Gregory, Maddie Watt. Some of those key players have been able to have a spell. Bond's still using that interchange bench really frequently, but someone who's been on it frequently is Ari Clark, strangely.
Yeah, it's interesting for a strong midfielder. You know, you then wonder what kind of rotation she's in. It's very interesting to see the different strategies over different teams on the grand final day.
It's a long match. It's an endurance test as much as anything. Milne, the back of the contest, did well. He's able to get it forward. Lots of flying targets. Collegia was one of them. Taylor did well in traffic. Gets it forward to Parker. Just a bit of a handling issue. Taylor played a wraparound beautifully, then kicked it away. And Kimber was in possession yesterday.
That's her bread and butter, isn't it?
No.
Sitting across the halfback intercept mark.
And just as aside, Clark's on the field, just in a halved marking contest with Baldwin. Comes out wide to Evans. The bump from Barron. Mitchell. And eventually White kept it in. There was talk of deliberate, but I don't think it could be called deliberate because she never actually made it to the boundary. Teasing play. So Southport rebounding out of defence rapidly, often. Milne crashing through, found Moody. Moody, clever kick wide, clever idea, just went over the head of Taylor.
There was a bit of limbo from the umpire there.
No, poor boundary umpire had to do his best to get out of the way.
Davies couldn't come down with it, but did the next best thing by knocking it to a teammate. Oh, Zarafa, that's not how you do it. Megan Hunt trying to drag players away. Zarafa getting a bit of white line fever. Landwehr.
A little bit of spice in the game now, isn't it? That intensity is just rising.
I think what was happening was that Southport were trying to indicate to the umpire that they were attempting to dispose of it, but unfortunately the hand that was punching was going a little stray.
It's always a worry when you're trying to convince the umpire that you're doing something while you're punching. It's not a particularly coachable tactic. So ball up, left wing Southport's perspective, right wing, or just back of right wing for Bond. Came out towards Milne. Zarafa charged it. Keep an eye on Zarafa for the next little while. Coughed up to Mitchell, but that was a throw. And so it'll come back to Barron. Only one-on-one contests ahead. Welsh on a lead. Barron, big charge from White. Front position from Welsh, couldn't come down with it. Nolan. The handballs didn't connect. O'Brien nearly pilfered. It's 2-on-1. Welsh trying to get free. Looking for a teammate. Just did well enough in the tackle was Gemma Blair. Goes over the head of Davies. Ship and Kimber. With the Shepherd getting a little bit close. Kimber inside 50. Clark dropping the mark. Falls back to O'Brien. Wrapped up by Moody and Blair and Clark. Only the third quarter. But I don't think Bond want to concede the next goal. Lightfoot. Kicked out by Nolan, who's had to drop back a long way. Milne went without it. Zarafa. Maisie Evans paying close attention.
You may not be able to see it on camera, but behind the ball, you've got 4 Southport girls that are free. So Bond are really pushing their numbers in to try and help win that contest now.
There's also a Bond player still on the ground at the left back pocket. Play's cleared, so it'll be allowed to continue. Although now that Milne's marked, this will be interesting. In fact, the umpire has stopped play, so...
She's grabbing at her ankle, I believe.
Yeah, just trying to identify. The umpire's in my line of vision at the moment.
Right in the way.
It's Lightfoot. It's Lightfoot. Thankfully, the radiation from the orange boots was enough for me to be able to identify the player. But no, don't let this be Lightfoot's last action of the game. That would be wrong. Hopefully her recovery is similar to O'Brien's and doesn't miss too much of the game. A premiership captain last year, of course, Paris Lightfoot. And in terms of great players of the Bond University QAFLW who have never played AFLW, Lightfoot's right up there. Kaslar and Parker coming back on. Lightfoot hasn't cleared the area yet. Milne with the free kick, pumps deep inside 50. Over the head of Barron. Balcom trying to run out. Just got a fist to the ball. Zarafa lost her feet. Bond may have done enough through Evans. Comes wide. Kimber got front position as Bond players collided. Was able to get a disposal away. Fogus ran onto it just ahead of Pluples. And this lock it in front 50 trademark of Southport's, this third quarter is probably the strongest we've seen it in the match. Also worth noting, when Southport beat Bond back in round 8, they scored 8 goals and it was 2 in each quarter. They're pretty much on track for that at the moment. They're 2-2-1. Fogus with a fend. Over the top, picked off by White, who runs away from Barron. May have kicked that away, however. Just goes over the head of Ship. Standing tall was Samuels. Third player in was Milne. Supported the ball carrier well. Found Welsh. 50-50 call. Deemed not to have held for long enough. Ship is in space. Takes the outside. Tries to dance around Balcombe. Goes back to Milne. Looking for Welsh again. Ill-directed. Moody will be disappointed that she didn't take that. Watt through the middle. Then there was high contact. There's going to be a free kick to Maddie Watt. No play on. Hang on, that's trickled through. It's been allowed to play on. That'll stand. Southport's second goal of the quarter. Chaotic. But no one in black and white is complaining.
That was extremely lucky for Southport that went through, because the umpire actually called advantage after it had been kicked. So they didn't really have time to, regather and know what was going on. So, yeah, I think it was very lucky that went through. If it hadn't, they might have been a bit disappointed that they didn't utilise that.
Experience is what you get the second after you need it. But, again, what we saw there was that, so Hannah sent us a message saying, got Paris, I'll just say it, Paris Lightfoot's clutching her left leg and taking her boot off. We'll get further updates as we can. So thanks very much to Hannah Davies, just dealing with technical issues there. But Southport has its 6th goal. It's a 3-goal lead. Well, 3-goal 4, 22 points. Clark did well to step out of traffic. Just beaten Meyer. Pluples. Meyer did well to keep her head over the ball. Got some kind of disposal away. Milne's been outstanding in this quarter. Handball's inside. Zarafa round the body. Found Gregory. Gregory goes wide, looking for Davis. Good pressure from White. Forward to Meyer, uses Moody. Strong tackle from Davis. Moody again. Forward to Meyer. Tries to get away from Pluples. Good tackle from Pluples. Watt inside to Gregory. Southport using possession well. Barron under pressure from Davidson. Flicks it out wide to Fogus. Fogus got a little bit of boot on it, not the kick she wanted. Clark retreats. Shepherd's in front of her, but Fogus broke the Shepherd, made the tackle.
It's called holding on to the jumper. I really thought that was going to be a ball. That was a great hard tackle.
Clever players. Clark and Fogus didn't come down in the last rain shower.
Drawing the free. True craft.
And they draw frees like they've got a whole pack of crayons. Deep in the third. It's 15 minutes plus time on. Quarters have typically been in the 19 to 21 minute range today, regardless of the number of goals. Not quite sure how that works. Davis dropped it. Balcombe tried to clear. Fogus charged down. Clark through the middle. And that is a mess that can only be solved by a whistle and a lime man. Someone who'll be watching and cheering on is Imogen Evans, who played a wonderful role in inside midfield for Bond Uni this year and then played it too well because she was redrafted by Collingwood. So, Imogen, hope you're enjoying the coverage and not yelling too loudly at the TV as you promised yesterday. Sexton. Just go inside 50. Taken by Kaslar. Now, 10 years ago, I would have said here's a goal. And she is a very, very fit woman, but I dare say her kicking distance has contracted slightly. Goes to the pocket instead and picked off by Kimber, who read that better than Maisie Evans did. Plays it straight because there was a loose player there in Milne. May have gone out in the full. Anyway, it wouldn't have caught a finger on the way through. Will just be a boundary throw-in by the look of it. So Lightfoot's left ankle is being strapped, we're told.
She'll be doing her best to get back on a day like today.
Oh, she'll amputate if she has to. Watt was pilfering, but it got away from her. Well picked up by Baltaze in the back. Milne with the snap around the body. Oh, now Moody was held off the ball, yes, so Moody will win the free kick. Mitchell definitely collected her before she was anywhere near the yellow thing. Was that my version of the orange team?
What do you mean?
Calling the ball the yellow thing. Let's move on.
I'm not with you on that one.
That's
Normally
okay.
I get you.
Short kick, didn't find the target. Goes back to Landwehr. Falls in between players. Baltays will have time to clear. She comes across. Hunt should be first to it. Plenty of life. She wants his premiership. Missed last year with an ACL. Kicked it away on that occasion. Salisbury clever. Tackled by Barron. Dakota Barron, there's not much she can't do. Again, one to watch on draft night, but we're at a grand final. This is what's important right now.
And that was great play by Meg Hunt. She clean pick up and just put it out into space, and then Dakota to do the tackle. And when Dakota's taking the free kick, you actually saw Meg go, settle down, you know, the hand movements went, just keep it calm.
It's not out of the realm that Megan Hunt could be the next captain. There's a couple of players kick it away. It was first to Landwehr and then from Landwehr to Ross. But of course, two-time premiership captain herself, Megan Hunt. Best on ground in a grand final in 2014. And now battling with Shannon Nolan. Cleaned up at the back by Ross. Kicked away to Milne. Back to Landwehr. Pressure from Davies. Salisbury chasing.
We'll just keep an eye. We've got Southport player down. I think it's Maddie Baldwin.
It is, yeah. And if she's down, she's hurt because she is granite-like.
She's tough as nails, yeah. They're holding their hand up to the umpire. That's not a good sign. We will just keep an eye on her as play pauses.
Yeah, rightly so. We'll let the medical staff take care of that. It's been 2-0 to Southport in this quarter. Even though this is probably the most sustained period of forward pressure that Bonds had, yet they haven't really had a shot on goal. What do you see as the reasons for that? I mean, Southport's structures, obviously, but how about it?
Yeah, I just think Southport are playing 2 steps ahead. Like they're holding their position, and Bonner kind of getting the numbers to the ball, trying to win that initial contest. But Southport are 2 steps ahead, and they've got the numbers on the outside waiting for that next step. So to me, they're just playing a little bit smarter and a little bit further ahead in the game.
I'll agree. You don't need my approval, but I'll agree with that observation. So Southport have a free kick. Let's see if we can get some quick stats shortly. 3/4 time siren is imminent. Southport clear from defence. Welsh put pressure on Clark. Watt out to O'Brien. Charged down by Balcom's face. Balcom is now down. Samuel's running through the middle. Clever handball to Nolan, who's been outstanding today. Inside 50, not to any real advantage. Maisie Evans against Selena Priest. Good use of the body from Priest. And then right on cue, Pluples providing the support. Taylor there as well, and she'll be held. Could be, well, it already is a longer quarter than usual.
Yeah, I was just looking at the stats, and this quarter, Southport are absolutely dominating the tackle count. It's 28-13,
yep.
So 15 up. And that is their bread and butter. They are known for that. They're hard ball getters, and they have that hard pressure. So it's really definitely making a difference today.
And it's not always, what Southport do isn't always reflected in the tackle count. Sometimes it's in the pressure acts, and they manage to force the turnover without having to make a tackle. But today, against, let's face it, a quality opposition, it usually does take a tackle, and they're standing up. Turned over again. Pluples unable to take the mark. Pilford comes out to Milne. Milne drove it underneath Hunt, and then Gregory was LBW before being pushed over. Picked up by, I think it's Baltays.
So we just got reports from our boundary rider, Hannah Davies. It is looking like possibly a little bit of concussion for Maddie Baldwin.
Oh.
So we will keep an eye on her. We know that they'll probably test her and she might have to sit off for a little bit, but Hannah will keep us updated.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Sky. As Kaylee Kimber, one of the most outstanding players on the field in that quarter, finishes the third term with an intercept mark. Southport, 6-5-41. In control over Bond University, 3-1-19. We hope you're enjoying this, the 24th grand final of the Bond University QAFLW here at People First Stadium.
My favourite things about being an umpire would be making friends, getting fit and getting involved in the game. You're a big part of the game as an umpire, so it's a great way to get involved in the game.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved in the game, even at my age and my level of fitness, and actually being able to be out there with a great group of people. It's fantastic.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved with footy, making new friends and getting paid to be involved in the game I love.
Definitely get involved. It is a great way to stay fit. It's a great inclusive community. It's a very supportive community and it's a job that anyone can do. Doesn't matter about your gender, doesn't matter about your age, your fitness abilities. It's just a great way to be involved in AFL.
I would encourage anyone to get involved in umpiring. It's fantastic, it's fun, and you get paid to be involved in the sport that you love.
Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How did they do it? Inside this building is a simulated hospital ward, a high-tech biomechanics lab, a commercial kitchen, and a whole virtual home. Let's explore the new Bond Institute of Health and Sport in just 61 seconds. This is the 12-bed simulation hospital ward. From day one, Bond students gain hands-on experience in allied health and exercise science. This is the Work-Play Lab, which gives students the opportunity to provide occupational therapy for our youngest, while the Activities of Daily Living Lab simulates a full home environment, giving students the chance to practice mobility work with our wisest. From sprinting to golf swings, this track can track it. Using pressure sensors and high-speed cameras, it can analyze anything from age-related conditions to elite sports training. Wow. The Kitchen Lab has solar-powered sustainable cooking stations, giving postgrad nutrition and dietetic students access to commercial-grade equipment. Thank you. Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? I've got 61 seconds to race you through the life of a student in the Bond Elite Sport program. Strap in. Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain, supporting student athletes like Mia. Student athletes have access to flexible study loads, adjusted academic requirements, and tutoring. The top tier of student athletes even receive funding to assist with their travel and competition costs. Bond also runs 4 high-performance sporting programs that field competitive teams. There's netball, rugby, AFL, and swimming. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Whether it's producing world-class athletes or offering scholarships to high-achieving students every single year, sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Three quarters gone in this grand final, and Southport has 2 goals in each of them, which is exactly what they did when they defeated Bond in round 8 at Fankhauser Reserve. It is 6-5-41. The goals for Southport, 2 apiece to Alana Welsh and Maddie Baldwin, 1 each to Taylor Gregory and Georgia Davis. But Bond University weren't able to get on the scoreboard in that quarter at all. They didn't even have a minor score. Their 3 goals, 2 to Leah Kaslar in the first quarter, and then 1 to Bronte Parker in the second. My name's Daniel Viles. Hannah Davies will be joining us shortly. Sky Burgess is here with me. Sky, some analysis, and if you've got some numbers, throw them in, but certainly just how you saw that third quarter, which was all White Shark.
Yeah, I guess we kind of touched on it towards the end of that quarter. To me, Southport are just playing 2 steps ahead at the moment. Their setup and their discipline, you can tell that they've got a game plan and they're sticking to it.
In about 20 minutes' time, well, we've had extra time in the past, so let's not say we'll definitely have a premiere. But Southport Sharks have their eyes on the prize, and Bond University have not exactly taken their eyes off it. It's just past 4 o'clock here on the Gold Coast. Shadows are lengthening. Hannah Davies has been listening presumably to the Bond University huddle at 3/4 time, so we'll hear from her shortly. Is Bond getting forward momentum as they're attacking the left of your screen? Retreating to advance. Siobhan Ross has work to do and does it well. Looks up and sees Milne in front of her. They'll know each other's games well. Handballs through the pack. Falls to Sexton. Charged down by Fogus. May fall to Parker. Has Ross paying her close attention. Through the legs of Clark. Priest. As tough as she has been throughout her storied career. As we have another player down, so we'll keep an eye on that. And Hannah Davies, when you're ready, tell us what you know.
Yeah, I just went down to the Bond University, over to the Bond University huddle, and no surprises, but Lee Kaslar started off a lot of the player chat. Her main message was to have fun, but strategically, she wants them to find a player and go back to their structures. Andy's message was, interestingly, for the halfback to come up and play as a bit of a winger. He's looking for discipline, but he's not fazed by the 22 points. And I loved his final message to the girls. Anything can happen if we believe it.
Ari Clark seemed to come off the ground. It looks like blood coming from the mouth. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, definitely. She did have her head turned as she was trying to run off. So I was wondering what she was doing. And now the trainer's gone over to her with some tissues to hold as she runs off.
Was hoping to play most of this year as a forward. She may... Oh, coughing blood at the moment. I think... Oh, she looks all right. I think it was just a clearing cough of blood because Ari Clark is tough. In much the same way that the commentator isn't.
Tell you what, though, just quickly, watching Sophie Balcom cop that ball from Steph O'Brien on the boundary.
Completely agree. Southport doing enough to knock it away from goal. Bond maintaining possession through... Might be Parker it was. Maisie Evans rucking. Knocked it back to Sexton. A clean possession would have been interesting. Milne also not with a clean possession. Kimber charging. Kimber working her way out of defence. Trying to get away from Meyer. And her Queensland teammate wins the free kick.
What a rundown tackle. It's not very often you see Kimber get caught like that.
Not very often. You could almost say never, and I wouldn't have argued. Kaleja, Watt, Pilfers. Tried to get it to Suckling. Couldn't make the connection. Meyer looking for Milne. Just a tap took it over the back of the pack. Zarafa clears the way she does. Over the head of Harris. No mean feat. Just fumbled at the back by Lightfoot. Good to see her out there. Thank you for keeping an eye on Paris Lightfoot, Hannah. What was it like the last you saw her?
Yeah, look, she seems to be in pretty good spirits. She's a tough one, Paris.
Oh.
She came off in a lot of pain, but I think once the physios had a look, got her strapped up, you know, those girls, those Bond Uni girls, are just going to give it their absolute all this quarter.
Yeah, the game's not over till the siren, and we will see a sign as Taylor clears out towards Meyer. Now, Sky knows the answer to this question, but we have noticed that that Southport will hold up a sign saying GTW towards the end of matches.
Haven't figured it out yet, Daniel, huh?
Look, there's in the business world, they say get to work. You know, that's the thing to do. You've got to get to work. But,
Okay.
so that's probably my serious answer. But
That would be a good sign.
yes. As Moody takes it at the back. I have seen a little bit of geriatric tummy wobbling, but I'm assuming that's not it, as Kimber takes the intercept mark at left halfback. German tug of war, perhaps. Free kick to Michaela Meyer. The silence is deafening. Milne. Kimber was charging. Milne got there first. Not sure she's weighted that the way that she wants. It may fall for Bond anyway. As Tiani Brown kicked off the ground, maybe half a metre either side, and it might have been kicking in danger, but plays allowed to continue. Davidson began her career as a forward, 50 metres out, looking for a target. Zarafa did well dropping back in defence, just took it away from Bella Davies. Falls out to Maisie Evans, couldn't get the handball away. Davies chips over the top, offline, hasn't gone out though. Kaslar and Baltays. Trickles out. There will be appeals for deliberate. I'm happy with the boundary throw-in.
Yeah, she just masked that well enough. Let the Bond player kind of make contact with her, and they both took it over the line together.
And that's a judgment call for the umpire and umpires, and in my mind, they've got most of those right today. In fact, most is a little bit insulting.
No one's perfect. No one gets 100% all the time.
I'm the embodiment of that, but no, it's been a good day. Let's leave it at that. Speaking of good days, the Southport defence have been backing each other up repeatedly. Good work by Samuels just outside the 50. On an immaculate surface, there are balls bouncing past the players that they would normally pick up. And that's not criticism, they know how much this matters. And yeah, atypical mistakes on grand final day and nothing new as Zarafa will clear. Finds Welsh, was under a lot of pressure, stood tall, breaks away, comes across field. Barron was perhaps the first target. Goal side is O'Brien. O'Brien just needs a good bounce. Blair does well, inside, finds Fogus.
Barron,
apologies, Dakota Barron.
And that's how she does it. Snap goal like that. She's a thumping kick, Dakota Barron. I did worry about O'Brien when she was chasing after the ball. We know she's just had her knee strapped, and I think you could maybe see that hesitation to bend down and pick it up, but that's great team communication. She knew Dakota was there, got the hands, centering, and then to a girl that can finish like that.
Fogus is someone who backs up, but of course Dakota Barron coming through. It wouldn't have been a complete grand final performance for me from Southport if Barron didn't score.
That's right. She's been doing it all year, so it's great to see her do it on a grandstand like this.
Just 17 years old. I still don't understand how she missed the squad for the grand final. For the team of the year. There's a 40-player squad that's been mentioned. That's on the AFLW website.
Yeah. So much talent.
And now on the scoreboard. And I may have talked over a ground announcement. I might throw to Hannah and see if she happened to catch it.
Oh, I didn't, sorry, Daniel. But
okay.
what
I'll wear that.
seeing on the interchange benches is that the fatigue is definitely setting in. We've got players from both sides being worked on by the physios, mostly a lot of calves. I think, yeah, the heat and the intensity of this match is showing.
No surprise to anyone who's watching it. Nolan, one of Bond's best today. Sexton, just over the shoulder of Zarafa. Davies, been brilliant. Sorry, Davis to Davies. Brown tackled, just was able to get the disposal away. Plupel stepped inside Taylor, partially charged down by Nolan. Impromptu ruck contest involving Parker. Spills wide. And then the run-down tackle from Maddie Watt. What else is new? Plupels. Check side kick to centre half forward. Khalija read that yesterday. Thumped it. I think she was wanting Milne. Kaylee Kimber was never under any real pressure, certainly not for a marker of her standard. She'll go wide, looking for the run of O'Brien, which is not so much a pass as a fitness test. Able to stand up in the tackle of Meyer. Blair goes in field to Sexton. Coughs it up. We'll let it go through the fingers. Ross inside 50. Over the head of Barron. Lightfoot getting in position. Takes the tackle. Ball up, 40 from goal. .28 margin.
There's that fatigue Anna was speaking about. We've got cramps going on left, right and centre out there.
Lightfoot, who I think was one of the players just cramping, then pulls out a sidestep just to show, even when I'm hurt, I've still got the skills.
Doesn't matter.
Meyer did well up the wing, got the disposal away, and Kimber again was in position. Couldn't quite break the tackle of Sexton. And I think the umpire was just waiting to see if Milne could gather. When she couldn't, let's take the free kick back to Sexton. Originally from Finley on the New South Wales Victorian border. Been up here a while now. And given that I mentioned her when her brothers are playing, I can mention her brothers when she's playing, but they're at Southport. Last chance saloon for Bond University. Goes wide of Evans. Picked up by Priest. Back to Kimber, who clears. Finds the target of Barron. I know it's Ferguson just evening up.
Yeah, Paris Lightfoot has just practically crawled off the ground. She is I think, exhausted. She's just given it her all. You've really got to give it to the girls out there. the scoreline doesn't reflect the work rate that both sides have shown today.
Well, towards the end, I mean, there'll be plenty said, rightly so, about the 2024 season. And Bond have been a major part of that. And the standard of football, particularly with the top three this year, I have a theory that it's as good as the AFLW was when it started. Landwehr, played on without meaning to, runs away from Zarafa, keeps it wide. And I believe it'll be live streamed, but the Zilke Medal night is, I think, on the 8th of September. Diving Taylor can't take it. Hunt moves wide, finds Kimber behind her. Just struggling to pick up, but still had a lot of space and still pulls a 40-metre kick out of nowhere. Moody got a good tap. Inside, cleared by White, just away from Harris. A skimming kick. Sexton left it behind for Hunt. Comes out towards Fogus. Evades the tackle cleverly. Good work from Taylor to put pressure on. Hunt will clear. And for once, Hunt has an ineffective disposal. Although it went through to a teammate, maybe that's still effective. Not that I'm trying to influence the iSports statistician on site. Grace Moody in field, finds Collegia. They're still very structured, Bond University. They haven't pressed the panic button. There's Nolan. Wanders through the middle, was looking for Milne. Maybe needed to find her on the full. Baltaze is closest to the ball. Doesn't have a lot of support from her teammates, which is atypical for Southport today. Parker, landed on by, I think, Pluples. Went inside to Harris, can't break free of the tackle. Moves 360. That is a captain's tackle from Rihanna Shipp in a grand final.
Very smart, wasn't it? She just had the arm and ball pin, so that poor Harris could not do anything about it.
Rihanna Shipp was maybe not the most obvious choice as captain, as that's a lovely mark taken by Taylor Gregory at right halfback. I think a lot of bigger names in this Southport side who people felt may have been awarded the captaincy. I think Shipp has not only been brilliant as a leader, but her individual game has improved as well. I think she's gone leaps and bounds up from how she played last year. Not that she was bad then. Talia Meyer in the centre circle. On her bike away from Suckling. Breaks the tackle. Looks for a target further forward. And all she finds is Kimber. Is she the best on ground?
She's got mine at the moment, Daniel. She's playing outstanding and she's just good at it every week.
I need to stay away from that one because the program asked me for a tip and I said Kaylee Kimber best on ground, and for many reasons I'm not a gambling man, but I don't want to be seen as unduly influencing.
No, she's got mine. Just that really solid across the halfback. She intercept marks, she hits the contest hard, she brings it out of defence. I think Southport's defence would look a lot different without her.
Couldn't agree more. Might ask Hannah Davies for her thoughts in a moment as Bond get a free kick in defence. Nolan, probably Bond's best, but in a well-beaten side, I don't think you can give her best on ground today. Finds Landwehr. Hannah.
Oh, look, I think from my perspective, I've possibly been looking at different things. I think the intensity from Southport is where they've shone today, though. You know, they've not at all taken the foot off the pedal, throughout this game at all.
Thank you for not answering the question. As it comes inside 50. Gregory keeping her feet. Lightfoot is the two number 20s. Oh, an interesting call here from the umpires as Lightfoot kind of, sort of, maybe not on purpose, put the ball over the paint.
I know what you're saying, Hannah. It's in that really contested game, so it's kind of hard to look past the people that are doing the hard work, like Fogus and that from Southport. You know, they're up there for me as well because they're doing all the grunt work.
Thanks, guys. Save me
I
there.
knew what you meant.
You let me down, Sky. I was trying to grind her into the dirt. You come along.
Girls, girl.
What's with the sisterhood here? Thank you both for your work today and throughout 2024. Zarafa. Zarafa on a narrow angle. There's a free kick awarded here. It is to Southport. And Kira Zarafa has been very involved today. Horrible side for a left footer.
There's been a few shots on goal from this deep pocket today.
Maybe looking into the sun, but she knows where the goals are. And she can see two big sticks, just split them. And why not have a shot? Kira Zarafa. This is to the left.
I will say though, Rihanna Shipp's just come off the captain of Southport, and she's been massive today for me in terms of her impact.
Hence the big cheers, yes.
Yeah, in that, she hasn't necessarily had a huge amount of touches or necessarily the biggest involvement, but whenever she is involved, she's always impactful.
Yeah, you're right. She flies under the radar, doesn't she? She doesn't do the big things that makes her stand out, but you notice when she has the ball, she's so extremely composed. Like, she almost does a Pendlebury, like, just steps back from the play, takes her time to then do a really clean possession. Like, her skill set is, for me, one of the best on the team, so she just does what's necessary, and that's why she's a great captain.
You see, because I watch so much of this competition, when I see Scott Pendlebury play, I think, gee, he reminds me of Rihanna Shipp. Sexton out the back. And I don't think that was deliberate. That was just, I don't have anyone on the end of that. No, it has been called deliberate, or at the very least, insufficient intent. Zarafa again looking for a central target. Couldn't find one straight away. Bond with enough players behind it. Welsh shrugs one tackle. Did Lightfoot and Blair do enough? It's been called a dangerous tackle. It'll be a set shot to Alana Welsh. She has 2 today.
Is that a 50?
And a 50, I reckon that's probably for something that was said. Welsh is hobbling. I don't think any, unless the ball was thrown back incorrectly, but Alana Welsh, 70 minutes in the final quarter. Southport are the champions.
2 from 2. What a day to be, you can't even say shark. What a day to be a member of Southport. They have played absolutely excellent games across both grades. They've worked hard all year. You can tell how well coached they are. They put so much time into their setups, and today it's just shown they're well drilled and they're disciplined.
And something that's special about today, you don't always get it in a grand final where you get to celebrate and really embrace the moment before the match is over. But you can see down there, also you may not be able to see down on the boundary, but the coaches, the players, there's all hugs right now. It's a special one. They're getting to really feel it, embrace that moment. They've earned it.
The junior girls program of Southport was well established as Hunt takes it out of the middle. She'll go inside 50. Barron nearly pulled it down, was trying to catch it at full stretch. Lightfoot, ineffective handball under immense pressure. Semi-cleared, Plupel's under pressure with Meyer. Been not a bad one-on-one battle today when they've been on each other. But their women's program began, Ryan Davis as coach in 2020, and it was always with the State League in mind. They spent 2 years in the QAFLW Division 1. They won the grand final both years. 2022, they came into the competition with a bang. Maybe had a bit of luck in that Coolangatta had to give up their licence the same year, and there were a number of players like Selena Priest, like Georgia Brouard, who came up from Coolangatta. As Tiani Brown is pulled to her feet by Maddie Watt.
And the Tiani Brown fan club on the left of the field here are going absolutely mad for her.
That's the Gold Coast and Shepparton going mad for Tiani Brown. I think Barron was going to take that, and Watt sharked her, excuse the pun. Grand final in their first season for Southport. Favourites last year, and then losing 3 players to AFLW clubs just before the finals was bittersweet. But from round 5 this year, Bond University came to this game on 8 straight wins, but Southport came in with 12. We've never had a more informed grand final as White retreats. Welsh battling with Taylor. Taylor wins, coughs it up, tried to get it to Meyer, couldn't connect. But this has always been the goal for the Southport Sharks. A Bond University QAFLW title. Just taken away from Gregory. They've recruited well from around Australia, but they've also been a destination club. People like Emma Suckling, who played on this ground for the Allies under-18s last year, had a wonderful year at the Southport Sharks, mainly as a winger, but also dropping back into halfback. Peter Doherty took over as head coach last year. The players are very fond of him. Haven't heard a bad word about him yet. I'm sure I will if I dig hard enough. So they move it across in front of goal. Sexton and Samuels doing enough. Welsh has the tackle on Samuels. Arguably in the back. Yes, that's been called in the back. It'll be a free kick to Bond. And Sexton, a warrior herself. And I think if Southport had to choose an opponent against whom to win their first premiership, well, they got the one they wanted. And while there's always been a bit of to and fro between the Southport Sharks and the Gold Coast Suns, I don't think they'd mind at all winning their first premiership at this stadium. It's been a terrific year in the Bond University QAFLW. So the free kick goes to Sexton, racking up a few stats towards the end of the game. 2 goals in every quarter. It's been a consistent performance. Sometimes they blow teams away early, and sometimes they build through the game. And twice this year against Bond, they set a 4-quarter effort. The mission is complete. Southport Sharks, Bond University QAFLW premiers for 2024.
A fantastic win by the Southport Sharks, 8-6, 54-3-1-19. It doesn't get much better than that. Sky, over to my right. You've got goosebumps right now.
I literally have goosebumps. I've got a smile from ear to ear. Like, to win 1 flag is special, but to win 2 and just knowing the girls and the hard work that they've put in, and especially the club people, like they've got people like David Ashkar at Sharks, who is just absolutely the heart and soul, and he has worked so hard behind the scenes to get a squad of depth, of talent to set the girls up for this. So to see them get 2 flags after all the hard work, I get emotional. It's really, really good to see, and the girls certainly earned it today, yeah.
Daniel, I want to hear from you first. Where was that one for you? Who made it happen?
Just thinking, I think the way that, I've said earlier in the season on air that no team in this competition, indeed in the history of this competition, supports the ball carrier more than Southport does. And every time a Southport player got tackled, there were usually 2 players around to be able to pick up the ball and keep the play moving. If I say that Bond didn't do that as well, sometimes they did it, but Southport did it pretty much for 84 minutes or whatever it was. And the way that sometimes it's pressure up the ground, but even when they're deep in defence, the way that Peter Doherty's got this team to play where there's just always options. They're fit as you like. Their aerobic capacity is just enormous. And there's just always someone in support, and that has been the difference. Even though they only won the minor premiership percentage and Bond was only 1 point behind, Southport were the best team this year because they played the best football most consistently, and a large part of that was that support I've been talking about.
I appreciate your analysis, Daniel. Sky, when we look at the stats, are we seeing a replica of what Daniel's saying?
Yeah, you're pretty much seeing green for Southport. They've won most of the stats for the day, and really their intercept marks and their tackle count are the 2 where they're really leading the way. So when you look at that kind of style of play, like not only at the ball contest, they're able to tackle and turn it over, but then, when Bond were bringing it down the field, they're also able to intercept mark and turn it around. So they're just multi-talented, and I think that's why, they don't just they're not one-trick ponies where you can kind of put something on that and then they're frazzled. They've got so many different ways to go about it, which is why I think they got the win today. Bond did amazing. Like you said, it's probably another one where the score didn't really reflect. It was a very tight game for the day. But yeah, their structure and they're hard at it. Southport, it's the reason they won today.
I might ask you to actually read out some numbers for us in a moment, partly because I'm a nerd, but partly also iSports have been supporting this competition throughout the year. We've got Max from iSports here today providing these stats live to us. So Max, thank you very much for adding to the coverage. If I had the budget, we'd have you here every week, so thank you very much. Sky, give me some funky numbers, please.
Well, I think what the Southport led the way in the most was the intercept mark. So they had 24 to Bond's 10.
Right.
Tackle count, 75 to Bond's 62. The two stats that they were ahead of Bond, they did win the clearances by 2, and they won the inside 50s by 2, which is extremely interesting. But then on the flip side, Southport had more inside 30s, so more of those deep entries where you can actually get some scoring ability from it. Yeah, I just paused, sorry. I just took a moment to look over at Bond, and they've got both teams in a huddle and having something to say, which is just really awesome. It shows what kind of club they are. It would have been a hard day to lose 2 grand finals. Me and Hannah have been there and it hurts. So to them to do that and rally around each other, that just shows what kind of club they are.
And they were in this position last year, so I think if anyone has the level of respect for Southport, it would be Bond. They know what it takes to win a double premiership. It is one of the hardest things to do. And it's been one of my favourite things to watch for the QAFLW is seeing the culture across both the seniors and the reserves. And it's just that talent that's come across. Sky, what are we seeing down there on the ground there?
I think, is it Zarafa? She was just down on the ground grabbing her calf, and the coaches have had to go over and are now carrying her off the ground. So I don't know whether it was cramping or she's tripped over in celebrations.
Or is it a surprise retirement? Is that what we're seeing?
Oh, mate, that girl is a baby. If she retires,
I just.
If she retires, I might as well hang the boots up now.
She's been playing for Northern Territory under 18 since she was about 4, but she's 18, so...
Playing well above her years.
Oh.
And speaking of retirements, what a way for Selena Priest to go out.
Yes.
That's such a deserved win. And she is such a leader of the group as well. You know, she's always pulling the girls up, really boosting them up, having positive things to say. And it's just, the group are going to be really, really sad to see her go.
A couple of people I'd like to acknowledge in this Southport victory as well. One was their first captain, Jess Malouf, who's now at the Surfers Paradise Demons, I think, as an assistant coach to the men's team. But she did a mountain of work, certainly in that 2022 season, setting up and transitioning the club from a QFAW team to a Bond University QAFLW team. The other one, and this is probably the only regret I have with Southport winning the premiership this year, is Georgia Brouard, who did her ACL at the beginning of the year, who has been arguably their best mid. In fact, she's won at least one best and fairest at the Southport club in the last couple of years, and I just hope she gets a chance to win another one at some point. And I'm notoriously neutral in this comp. Hopefully, the time I'm here, I get to see all 8 clubs or all 10 clubs win a premiership. But Georgia Brouard is very much a part of the Southport club, and I hope she feels that she's part of this victory as well.
Yeah, and like those girls are still such an important part of the Southport culture. Like Jess, obviously myself, I was new this year, so I wasn't part of Jess when she's at Southport, but they still spoke about her so much, about, you know, the message that she left, what she did for the club, that I was, as a new person, going, who is this Jess person?
The ghost of Jess, yes.
Yeah, and I was lucky. I dropped back and played a game for Surfers Paradise this year, so I got to play with Jess and I got to meet her and I really understood. I was like, okay, you know, you can see, I get it now, I get why they're talking about her, but it's really great that they still have that respect of where they've come from and they don't just forget about the people that got them there. So I'm sure she will be smiling watching the girls win today.
Ashley Flick is the other one who I should mention as well, who was co-captain with Jess in that first year, and once again was someone, she ended up captaining the reserve grade side to a premiership mostly that year, and I think now is enjoying family life, but no, there's I think Andy Lovell said on the stage at Brighton Homes Arena last year that teams win matches but clubs win premierships.
Yes.
So yes, the reserve grade teams got their own reward, that's great, but the whole Southport club has contributed to this victory, and I'm pretty sure that all of the 21 on the field plus the coaching staff know that explicitly.
Yeah, and it's interesting looking out there, isn't it? Like, you can see all the players, but you look at all the Southport polos out there, like they are all coaching staff, team managers, people that run the club. Like, they have so many numbers of people there helping out, and it just shows why they're successful.
Bond University huddles just walking back towards the boundary now. I don't see don't see many tears, and I wouldn't have begrudged them if they had. I think they're disappointed, quite clearly, and they're looking a bit flat. But I think they know how good they are. And okay, today they came up second, but they've got so much to be proud of, and they've got so much to be proud of for the future as well. And of course, at the other end, we talked about the older players playing their last game. It's interesting, you never know when a younger player is going to be playing their last game at this level. Like, I remember I ended up calling the last game for players like Dakota Davidson and Talia Hickey, and of course there are players here. Maybe we're seeing the last game at this level for Havana Harris for a little while. Maybe we're seeing the last game of Dakota Barron at this level for a little while. Part of me hopes we're seeing Kaylee Kimber back in the AFLW at some point. I don't care which of the 18 clubs she ends up at. But yeah, it's you never know who's being farewelled, or simply someone who decides that they want to move on to a different part of their life. So they'll know, and hopefully they're drinking this in, because this is a magnificent occasion. And once again, I'm well aware that we are effectively employees of AFL Queensland, but we're not permanent employees. So I just want to thank them for securing this venue and putting on this show today.
Yeah, it just takes it to that next level of professionalism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it shows a respect for women's football as well. You know, a lot of the girls have had to fight to be able to play and to get these opportunities and stuff. And I feel like they're really being taken seriously now, which is so good to see them getting support by really everyone and anyone. So to have them here on this stage, see the setup done by AFLQ, it's just really, really professional, and it's really good for women's football.
And a big thank you to Bond Uni, I think, for that as well. You know, their sponsorship of the league. They may be the second place runners-up today, but, you know, Bond Uni as a whole, we're so appreciative of their work as a major sponsor of the Bond University QAFLW.
Do we have any final tips for BOG? I've sent mine off, guys, so you don't have to think that you're going to be tampering with it. But who was your favourite today?
Kimber.
Are you going to stick with Kimber, Hannah?
Oh, I'm going to say Ship. I'm going to stick with her.
Yeah, no, okay, I like it.
Very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to People First Stadium for the 2024 Bond University QAFLW Grand Final. My name is Sarah Owens, and on behalf of the AFL Queensland team, it's my pleasure to welcome you here today in what's been a history-making day for Gold Coast Australian rules women's football, and especially for Southport in claiming their maiden QAFLW flag. Please join me in a round of applause for both Southport and Bond University for the great performance they put on today. To assist with today's presentation, I'd like to welcome to the stage the head of the AFL in Queensland and the head of AFL International, Tricia Squires. I would now like to take the opportunity to congratulate our umpires on their grand final appointments and thank them for their efforts today. To receive their grand final medallions, would you please welcome field umpires Justin Lillicrap, Taylor Higson and Noah Perzer-Page. To our boundary umpires, Taryn Ambershire and Andrew Barnes. To our goal umpires, Zoe Matthews and Hayden McLennan. Our emergency umpire, Mitchell Blashak. And our third scorer, Nate Wooding. Please join me in showing our appreciation for the umpires, not only for the job they did today, but throughout the entire season. It's now time to present the medal for the player selected as best on ground in today's grand final. This medal is determined by a 3-person panel voting on a 3-2-1 basis. I am delighted to announce that the player judged as best on ground in the 2024 Bond University QAFLW Seniors Grand Final with a unanimous 9 votes from Southport, number 23, Kaylee Kimber.
Well done. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I'd now like to kindly invite Andy Lovell from Bond University to come forward and say a few words on behalf of our runners-up today.
First of all, I'd just like to thank AFL Queensland for the showcase that they've put on today, shining a spotlight on women's footy in Queensland. I think it's an incredible venue to play the grand final at, and I'm sure both clubs are very appreciative of all the work that's gone in to everyone involved, so a big thank you. To the university, Bond University, the support that you give all of us and give us the opportunity to be able to play this great game. We thank you so very much. To our girls, both teams, I love you. You're an amazing group. We didn't quite get the job done today. I mean, we were standing here last year in your where you are today, and I think it's a great thing for footy that you've been able to get the job done. To Southport, well done. You were far too good on the day and you thoroughly deserve your win. Pete, to you and your team, congratulations. Certainly know how you feel, and as devastated as we are, I think we'll use today to help drive us to be better again next year. So to all the supporters, to all of the support staff from both teams, thank you for all the work you do. We know it's a volunteer job and we couldn't do it without you, so thanks very much.
Thanks, Andy. I'd now like to invite Peter Doherty from Southport to come forward to receive a premiership medallion and the match ball and say a few words on behalf of his premiers.
Congratulations. I'll give you the ball first. There you go. And then your medal.
Okay, to Andy and all the crew from Bond, commiserations on the day, but geez, that was a tough game, and you've had a wonderful season, and for a long time have been the pioneers in women's football in southeast Queensland, particularly on the Gold Coast. So the way you've conducted yourselves, I would congratulate and thank you very much for a great contest today. To our sponsors, Lexus and Cool Beans, who have been there from the start, we thank you. To the Southport Football Club for believing in this program a bit over 5 years ago. We thank them for their support, very generous support. To the families and friends of all the players that came out and watched at this great venue, we thank you and thank you for your support. It was well heard and much loved. To our entire list, and it really was a list for us this year, we've had 54 senior players play at reserve and senior grade, plus some under-17s. Some 39 go through the senior squad, with a lot of our younger players with academy commitments. We thank you for your buy-in and your commitment to the program. This is a whole of club result today, and I congratulate you for your effort. To our long-term injured players, and we've had a few unfortunately this year, Georgie Hunt, Peyton Mackey and Georgie Breward. You're as much a part of this as anyone. You're front up, you're doing your rehab week in, week out, and we thank you for your continued commitment. I do want to pay a special tribute to our past presidents who are no longer with us, Doc McKenzie and Matt Snyder, whose vision and support really drove the initiative to set this program up at Southport Shark. And for that, we're forever grateful, and we're happy to see their vision come to light today with a wonderful result for the club. And as a group, we spoke about history, and girls, this is Southport history. Well done.
Thank you, Peter. It's now time to present our premiership medallions to our players, starting with number 1, Megan Hunt. Go back down. Yeah. Number 4, Hannah Davies. Oh, they are? Okay. No, they come back. They all come back. They come back. Number 7, Steph O'Brien. Number 8, Abby Pluples. Number 10, Tiani Brown. Number 14, Maddie Watt. Number 15, Dakota Barron. Number 16, Joanna Beltays. Number 18, Alana Welsh.
Congratulations. Well done. Yeah.
Number 19, Megan Foggas.
Congratulations.
Have I got that right? Number 20, Taylor Gregory.
Congratulations.
Number 21, Selena Priest. Number 22, Ruby Mitchell.
Congratulations, well done.
Number 23, today's best on ground, Kaylee Kimber. Number 27, Georgia Davies. Number 29, Emma Suckling.
Congratulations.
Number 34, Ebony Milne.
Congratulations.
Number 44, Siobhan Ross.
Congratulations, well done.
Number 46, Maddie Baldwin.
Congratulations, well done.
Number 61, Kiara Zarafa.
Congratulations, well done.
And your premiership winning skipper, Rihanna Ship.
Congratulations. There you go.
You stay up here.
Stay up here.
You don't have to, yeah.
Just want to thank everyone who came and watched today. Definitely added to the excitement of the game. Bond, you've had an amazing season. Congratulations on your season. Although it didn't end the way you wanted, you fought for 4 quarters and it was an awesome fight. And just want to thank Southport, coaches, staff, everyone who buys in for us. We wouldn't have such an amazing women's program without everyone who backs us and puts in all their time. So thank you. And thank you so much to all the girls. We finally did it. You should be so proud. Love every single one of you.
Thank you. It's a good bit.
Here they are, the Southport Sharks, your 2024 Bond University QAFLW Premiers.
Congratulations once again to the Southport Sharks, premiers of the Bond University QAFLW, premiers in both the seniors and reserves. An incredible feat. That was the score, 8-6, 54 to 3-1, 19. A dominant performance across the game. Thank you to Daniel Viles and Sky Burgess for your commentary today. My name's been Hannah Davies, and again a big thank you to Bond University, AFL Queensland, People First Stadium, the home of the Gold Coast Suns, Bradham's Windows and Doors. It's been fantastic to have you with us, and go the Sharks.